right, well, welcome on into another episode of course, we've got DCU Daily on Oh So Curious. It's going to be a fun show. We've got a lot to talk about today, as we do every day. Of course, it was a fun show yesterday, and today we're going to follow up with some more interesting news, like, is Jared Leto actually done at this point, being a leading man? I mean, not by his own choice, but do you think studios, after the disaster that Tron Ares has been, and the last several movies he's been a lead in, including a certain Morbius, is he, the next Taylor Kitsch, who's just not worthy of being a lead in a movie franchise anymore? We'll talk about that. Of course, we've got a hot take debate with your hot takes from the community post that we put up earlier, so we'll get into those. I already see some of you guys in the chat, and you guys are the ones who are bringing the hot takes. Yesterday's were pretty hot, so we'll see how today's fare. We also have to get into the New York Comic Con review that Lizz is bringing us today. She was there all weekend. She got to meet a ton of celebrities. We'll get the best and worst of New York Comic Con 2025. And then, of course, we got some quick hits, and we're going to get into the DC news. We got to talk about Andy Muschietti, basically giving us a bit of insight into what he thinks about The Flash 2023 and all the Ezra Miller controversy. James Gunn gives us yet another update on Peacemaker's finale, what he thought about it, including his cameo in the finale. And of course, we have to talk about Man of Tomorrow, what's going on with the script, where it's at. Nicholas Hoult had a few things to say, but to do that and so much more, let's get the show started with the news, and then we'll dive right into it.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. Number two.
All right, Mr. I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne. I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right, okay, let's get into it, shall we? It's time for the news. Of course, I am your host, Dan, and with me today is the one and only Lizz. How are you doing today? I see you're all wrapped up. Is everything okay?
Hey, gang. Yep, I'm just in my house tonight. Again, the studio is kind of going a little crazy right now. We're in the middle of filming a movie here in town. I was on set all day, and haven't turned the heat on in my house yet, and if you know, you know. So I'm just wrapped up trying to stay warm. But hi, everybody.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun show. We got a honka. Oh, Tronka. Okay, Caleb. Tony's here. All right. Okay, saying is if the room is called the bulge, dies make us the bulgers. Wait, hold on. If the room is called the bulge,
does that make
us the bulge.
Yeah, you guys are our little
I guess.
bulgers.
I guess.
Sure. The Bulge Brigade. The Bulge Brotherhood.
Speaking of which, we did launch memberships. Oh, Angelica is here as well. Hello, Angelica. We have memberships up. You guys can sign up. I think we already have a couple of people signed up. And at the entry level, you'll get access to the exclusive badges, as well as some emojis, some custom emojis. There's a little bit of Dom Toretto in there. There's a couple of Bulge-related custom emojis in there, so get into it, and we'll have more benefits coming up as well, and I'll talk about it in more detail later in the week. But more Katna's here, and well, it's time for the Daily Bulge, as we like to call it, the news. Let's dive into it, shall we, Liz? So the very first thing we got to talk about, Tron Ares. We have mentioned it pretty much all week. We're on Wednesday. We've been talking about it since Monday. It did not make the kind of money that Disney would have liked for it to make, considering the amount of money they've put out for not only
And they
the
were
production,
marketing the
also the
heck out of
marketing.
it too. Yeah.
Exactly. But there was an article in the Hollywood Reporter, and I'll get into the actual article itself. But then, there were a few quotes that comicbookmovie.com picked out that I wanted to dive into, which basically poses the question, like, for a sequel that nobody asked for, um, that was already not in its running in its favor. But I mean, to have Jared Leto be the lead man, and yet
Well,
again a
apparently
Jared
he's the
Leto
only one that asked for this sequel. That's the problem.
barely. But another movie that has Jared Leto in the lead role has now pretty much flopped on its face, and you could
Yep.
see here in the headline, currency has run colder than Morbius's vampire blood on Jared Leto's days as potentially, as the leading man in Hollywood, or as a leading man, because Tron Ares got a B+ cinema score. It only made 33.2 million domestic. It didn't even get to it barely crossed 60 million worldwide. Now you look at some of the quotes here. According to the Hollywood Reporter article, they were talking about that their sources say Tron will likely retire from the big screen as a franchise because it's just, after 3 movies 5 decades apart, it just never has made the kind of money that Disney would ideally want them to make, considering
Yeah.
how much money each movie has cost. And as a
Yeah.
result of that, alarmed Disney executives had just no idea whether other accusations might emerge after allegations of misconduct emerged earlier this year. And I mean, they were relieved that nothing happened, but it's kind of weird because when you look at Jared Leto, like, being the lead man, he's got a big asking price. And it's just, I don't think studios can really justify that anymore. By the way, there's Morbius, which, again, bad movie, so it doesn't help his cause. I think when he was in the Suicide Squad, everything that happened with that I mean, part of it was then had nothing to do with him. Like, you can be a great actor and do what you want to do, but at the end of the day, if the movie gets all chopped up in the post, then that's
Yeah.
beyond your control. So I don't blame him in some ways. Like, we're gonna get into about Hello Watcher and Hello Fiona, but we're gonna get into a hot take debate later, and I have a hot take that not for today's show, but, like, for example, like, I mentioned at the very top, Liz, Taylor Kitsch, remember from John Carter or
Oh,
from
I know Taylor
Battleship?
Kitsch. Yeah.
Like, those movies back then, I mean, now he's in the Terminal List franchise, which is like a TV franchise.
Yeah.
But Taylor Kitsch used to be, like, pushed, like, to the moon. He was getting pushed to the moon. He was the lead man in like 5 movies
He
every
was
summer.
supposed to be the next Gambit. Yeah.
The next Gambit, he was a Gambit in Wolverine Origins. Again, bad movie, so it doesn't help. But Taylor Kitsch, eventually studios stopped bringing him in as the lead man. And here in the Hollywood Reporter, they kind of talk about, like, look, is it really just a matter of, it's Jared Leto's just not a bankable star, and not only that, but all the controversy that comes with him, off screen. Is it worth the risk that something unforeseen might happen and cause a PR crisis leading up to the movie coming out? All of those
Yeah.
things together. I mean, I remember when Taylor Kitsch, like, stopped, getting those roles, and I mean, as a career, his career kind of tanked. I mean, Sam Worthington, if it wasn't for the Avatar franchise, I don't think he'd be leading anything right now.
Yeah, I mean, he
So
pretty much retired
yeah,
from film and kind of
yeah.
accepted that it just wasn't gonna happen for him. Yeah.
So I guess my question to you is Jared Leto gone the way of a Taylor Kitsch or of a Sam Worthington, where regardless of whether it is his fault or not, it
Well,
just seems to be he's not the
I
right
don't
man
think
for the
it's a
job.
fair comparison. Let's start there, and you and I, of anyone, know, Dan, that a movie, a script can be incredible, but a lot of things get lost in production when it comes
Mhm.
to cutting corners to save the budget, when it comes to rewrites, when it comes to reshoots, when it comes to editing. I mean, again, the Fantastic Four film with Miles Teller was edited to death. It was a beautiful film. It was really well made. The cinematography was great. They had all the star power behind it. But it was just cut up to the point where it was unrecognizable as the original film was intended to be. And I think that was really the case with Taylor. He's a good actor. He has star power. He's super attractive. He was great in ensemble roles, Varsity Blues, all that kind of thing. But unfortunately, he signed on to movies that for whatever reason just didn't pan out at the end of the day. And again, we don't know what the original scripts looked like. We don't know what type of production issues they had, what type of interpersonal issues they had. I mean, chemistry between actors is so important as well. So I think if he finds that one good role again, he could be back in the conversation again. Now he's on the terminal list, like we said, which might help things. There's a big fan
We're
base
talking about
there.
Taylor Kitsch, but yes, yeah.
Yes, Taylor, yeah. But I don't think it's fair to compare Taylor to Jared, because Jared created his own problems. And again, much like this, he attached himself to this film and basically wrote himself as the hero, wrote himself as the lead, and kind of did what Will Smith did with Suicide Squad, right? Where all of a sudden, in order to get me on this film, it needs to be all about me. And fans didn't like it. And that's the same thing here. Like I said yesterday, the plot was pretty weak. And I had a really hard time wrapping my head around what they were trying to come across with Jared's character, with Ares, because, like I said, they kind of, as he became more aware and more human, he also became goofier to me and more aloof, and just like, it was almost like a joke or like a caricature. And I wasn't sure. I don't think that's what they were trying to do, but that's how it came across. So, there's a lot of factors at play here, but his own personal controversy certainly doesn't help things. And even going back to Suicide Squad, everybody gave his Joker shit, but again, that's how it was edited. That's how it was cut. The director himself, and we've said this time and time again, the director himself said he could have made an entire movie just on the footage he had of the Joker. He could have made his own Joker film with all of the footage he had of Jared. But for whatever reason, they cut it the way that they cut it. And it gave fans a bad taste in their mouth because they really didn't get the chance to see what Jared brought to the table. So that being said, for me, it's more of on a personal scale. I think fans we're tired of giving our hard-earned dollars to people that make bad decisions. And even I've talked about it as well, and we're going to be talking about Comic-Con, but like, there are certain actors that are going to come around, and I'd like to meet them, but I also get like a really icky feeling in my heart, you know what I mean? Just because I don't even,
I mean, it all kind of adds up. And hello, Just Kate saying Jared Leto is the arbiter of death for movie franchises. But
I
I
think
think
at this point, yeah,
it's there's a lot of reasons why that could be the case, right? Because usually we talk like with the Taylor Kitsch, I think
I
it was
completely agree,
unfortunate.
M2G. Yeah.
Like with Taylor Kitsch, the issue was he was in movies that just unfortunately didn't do well. Like John Carter was horribly marketed, one of the
Yep.
biggest flops in the history of Disney.
And I love that movie. I liked that movie a lot.
I feel like I'm a defender of the Battleship movie. I think that movie deserves a lot
That
better than
movie's
it actually
fun.
got.
I enjoyed
It was
it.
so
Yeah.
much fun. I love what I've seen that movie so many times. I always go, especially like the third act when like the literally the battleship in that movie does a Tokyo drift move in the ocean to knock down the alien spaceship. If that doesn't convince you, I mean, come on. And then it's but it is what it is. Like with Taylor Kitsch, I think it was more to do with the roles, and then pick some
Right.
bad ones. Like for example,
Right. That's why I'm saying it's an unfair comparison.
yeah, I mean, you could say like Taylor Kitsch and not Tony Stark, but like Robert Downey Jr. kind of in similar situations where Robert Downey Jr., if he hadn't gotten the Iron Man role, could have been in a very similar, or like I think he's kind of in the middle because he had similar issues, not similar,
Yeah.
but like in terms of just being a controversial star to
But
Jared
frankly,
Leto.
Robert Downey Jr., even
So,
after when he went out to do other films outside of the Marvel universe, they
mhm.
still didn't do well. I remember, what was it, The Judge, the one, where he was defending his father.
Mhm.
Everybody shat on that movie, and they were like, "Oh, this is
Nobody
Robert
went to
Downey
see it.
Jr.'s love letter to himself. This is him trying to prove that he's a good actor." And like, just like, they felt that he overacted. And I mean, you're damned if you do with certain things. But again,
Yeah.
Jared,
It's
unfortunately,
just
the decisions that he has made and the controversy in his personal life, I think people are just tired of it. There's plenty of
Yeah.
talent out there, and we would rather give our attention and our hard-earned dollars to people that deserve it.
Yeah. No, I think it's fair. Like exactly like what you just said. What he all the controversy that surrounds him off the screen, and then a lot of you guys mentioning in the chat that Jared Leto seems to play the same kind of roles again and again, or like he maybe needs to, I don't know, go out and do a few indie movies and really test
Yeah.
himself as an actor, like
I mean,
Robert
listen, we
Pattinson
know
did.
he is a talented actor. I mean, if you saw Dallas Buyers Club, like you know what he can bring. And again, for whatever personal controversy he's got going on, all of the people that have ever worked with him have had nothing but nice things to say. Margot Robbie had a great working relationship with him. So it's just I think, yeah, I think his ego has gotten in the way where he inserts himself and his style, and he thinks, oh, let's make these decisions, and at the end of the day, you need to he's not acting for the right reasons, I feel. And that's also a big part of it as well. But like I said, you really, you can't run from your personal controversy. If it's out there, it's out there.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, with that, I guess we'll just leave it there for now, because it just seems like, I think, one strike, two strike, three strikes, maybe even four strikes if you go back all the way to the Suicide Squad movie, and Jared Leto at this point might just be out, at least as far as Hollywood leading man roles are concerned. So, whatever he needs to do to rehabilitate that career,
Yeah.
I don't know, do different movies, maybe diversify.
Well,
You
and
guys let
again,
us
I
know.
think I think he's trying
Yeah.
too hard right now too. Now he's scaling buildings, and he's trying to
Hmm.
show us like how diverse he is and how talented, and oh, I'm a man of the world, and I'm just out here. When COVID hit, he was, oh, I was in a yurt for 3 months. I had no idea there was a pandemic. I didn't know. That's cool, man. That's great, but the rest of us are out here like trying to live our real lives and exist in reality, and we're not on your level. And it's
Yeah.
he's just been giving people the ick for a
It's
minute now.
it's that thing of, like, I think that mystique would work better in the 90s than today when
Right.
everybody's on social media. Like, you want to be approachable. That's what works today, as from if you're a star. Plus, also, stars don't sell movies anymore. So it's like you're trying to chase the wrong thing. So anyway, I think you guys let us know in the comments what you think about Jared Leto. Are his days done as the leading man in Hollywood? Is he just not somebody that any studio can rely on to drive a movie franchise to success? Because with Tron Ares being the latest example, it just seems like, if you look at the pattern all the way back from Suicide Squad to Morbius to now Tron and everything in between, is it Jared Leto who's really the big reason behind those movies failing, or were there other reasons? You guys let us know what you think about Jared Leto as a Hollywood leading man. Are his days, as the man at the top of above the line talent, are those days over? Let us know in the comments down below. And right now, we're gonna move on to the next thing, which today it's actually exciting because we were talking about it yesterday. Liz, you were at Comic-Con this past
It sure
weekend, New
was.
York Comic-Con 2025, and much like you did a couple of weeks or a few weeks ago at this point, maybe even a month or so ago,
Yeah.
we want to go over your adventures at these Comic-Cons, the best and worst of what you saw there, who you met. Give us some of your fun stories. I've got some photos that you sent us, so we're gonna go through these. But before we even dive into all the nitty-gritty of it, just just give us your overall a little bit of a summary of your experience at NYCC 2025.
Uh, it was great. I did meet all of the celebrities that I intended to meet. Yes, some did cancel. I always try to explain to people. I finally figured out the best way to kind of explain this to folks. New York Comic Con, any Comic Con for that matter, any major event, any major conference of any type, hundreds of thousands of people walking through those doors every single day, all with their own agenda, all with their own plan, meeting vendors, meeting celebrities, meeting fans, sitting down to panels. Um, Nothing's ever going to go right. Okay. Just, I always want people to understand that, especially if it's your first time going to a Comic-Con, understand there are hundreds of thousands of people walking through that door. That means shit's not going to go right. Things are not going to run on time. There's going to be issues. But I will say, New York is one of the best to ever do it. I've been going for over 10 years now. Again, I've gone to 90s Con in Connecticut. I've gone to Boston Fan Expo in Massachusetts. I've gone to Rhode Island Comic Con. I personally am somebody that has chronic medical issues. So I always get the ADA medical sticker to make people aware that, yes, I have, some health concerns. New York has always been the best as far as how they handle folks like myself. We have special lines that we get to go through so that we're not waiting as long as other people. Unfortunately, people take advantage of that situation. Also, other people get salty about it, especially if you're somebody like me who has a chronic invisible illness. They think that I'm lying or, how dare I, but as far as treatment, New York is the best. So as crazy packed as my schedule was, I still was able to accomplish everything in fairly record time. Everything went as smoothly as could be, again, considering the hundreds of thousands of people that are there with us. But as you can see, I met a total of 25 celebrities, 12 of which I was meeting for the second or third time. I had 3 photo ops, which is very rare for me. I do not like photo ops, but I try to do them when they're an ensemble, and that's what I had. So I got some Ghostbusters in there. I got the Marvel
Carl
Defenders. I got the Carl Urban was one of the first celebrity autographs I ever got back in 2018. The last time I think it was the very first time he was at New York Comic Con. And gang, when I tell you, I walked right up to his table in 2018. He had no line to speak of. In this situation, he had one of the longest lines. He was actually hidden behind a wall. And that's my girlfriend, Abby, who I meet up with at all the cons. She happened to have an autograph and a selfie with him. And she was like, hey, why don't you hop into this selfie since you've met him before, but you've never had a picture with him. So I'm really fortunate that I was able to do that with her. And I mean, look at how friggin' good we look. Look how happy we are to be there. Carl, once again, was delightful. Such a sweet, kind man. Really took the time for fans. But this time around, we were in line for a couple hours. Whereas, like I said, back in 2018, I walked right up to him. There was nobody there. So
it makes
and even then, he was already in some pretty big movies. He was already in Lord of the Rings. He was already in Pitch Black. But here we are. So it's amazing what a couple of other roles, how the star power can change that quickly. So, Carl, I can't say enough. It was a really wonderful experience. Brendan Fraser, I've shown you guys this picture before. This is back a couple of years ago at the height of COVID. He was on my Christmas card along with Henry Winkler and Steve Burns from Blue's Clues, who I also met for the second time at this con. I just had them both sign those photo ops. As you can see, we both have lost a lot of weight since then. Proud of you, Brendan. And again, delightful. Also, the same situation as Carl Urban, had one of the longest lines. He was only there on Sunday. I actually had met all of the celebrities I had the intention of meeting, including doing all of my photo ops by Saturday night. Typically, I've said it in the past, I try to skip Sunday if I can, just because it is a lot. They are long days, but Brendan was only going to be there Sunday. And the big concern was we also had a nor'easter coming in. So celebrities had started to leave early. They had started canceling their appearances because they were trying to catch their flights back home, understandably, given the weather. So the big concern was that Brendan was going to do the same. But I was like, I know this guy. And if he can stick around, if he can delay a flight, if he can push his schedule back a day or two in order to meet the fans, he will. So he had 3 photo ops that morning and only 1 autograph signing session. And thankfully, I got in time and I was able to meet him and have him autograph that. So when I put the autograph in front, the photo in front of him, he was like, look at us. And, again, explained to him that he was on the Christmas card that year, told him that Steve Burns had nothing but nice things to say about him, because I had met Steve Burns 2 days prior, like I said, so he could sign that photo op, and it's in here too. Dan will show that too. and he was so sweet, and he was like, "Oh, that's really kind. I'm really touched." And he winked at me on my way out. So that was how I finished off Sunday. That's all I was there for, was to see Brendan for the second time and run right the hell out after that. But it was a great way to end the weekend. There we are. That was the goal. That's what I was there for. I have been chasing Ernie Hudson around for years now. Either he's canceled or I wasn't able to make it for whatever reason. I never expected to see Annie Potts at a Comic-Con, but she's actually working in New York City right now. She's shooting some stuff. There was one morning she wrapped at like midnight, and then she was back at the con at 10 a.m. So she's a real trooper. And Sigourney Weaver, Jesus Christ, never in my wildest did I think she was going to start making the con circuit, but she did. Some of her other co-stars from Alien were there as well, so she did some photo ops with them. She did a panel with them. It was so cool to get to meet all three of them, and I got their autographs. They all look amazing. I mean, Ernie Hudson, now he was in the suit because he was also doing individual photo ops, so he was in the suit for that. But I wanted to say to him so badly, like, bro, stop it with the suit. Like, you guys don't understand. He has the most insane arms. Like, he needs to show off his arms at all times. The man is over 70 years old, and he is fit as anything, and he should be showing it off. He should be flaunting those bad boys everywhere he goes. But I did get autographs from all three of them with the intention of getting them tattooed onto my Ghostbusters tattoo, which y'all have seen before. When I told all of them that, they were like genuinely shocked. Apparently I'm the first person that they've ever met that was willing to, which I don't believe, because I've seen other people do these things. So I really can't believe that I would be the first person to ever get a Ghostbusters tattoo, but apparently I was, because they were all like genuinely taken aback when I explained to them why I was handing them a blank index card rather than a photo for them to sign. I said, "Oh, because I'm tattooing your name on my body," and here we are. I was not going to miss the opportunity, so I had it scheduled for Monday afternoon, and it's healing up right now. But they're there. Look how good, and I love how distinct each signature is. I mean, I'm the happiest person on the face of the planet right now, gang. And frankly, the only reason I'm showing any of you this, because this is going on my Christmas card this year and nobody knows about this. I haven't posted this publicly anywhere, or the photo op with the three of them. So this is an exclusive that only y'all are getting. I think my mom and Abby, my con friend, are the only people that know about this. So y'all should feel privileged getting this information right here. But yeah, so that, I mean, that alone, that was the goal of this con. Like I said, I did meet a total of 25 celebrities. Like I said, 12 of them were, so again, Karen Gillan, there's another one. She was such a sweetheart. She was delightful. I got to tell her the funny story behind this photo op. She thought it was a hoot. I've already shared it in the past, so I'm not gonna wax on about this stuff. But again, as I said, some of these celebrities I have met multiple times, Karen being one of them. So again, I met her for the second time. The other photo ops, like I said, there's Michael Chiklis, the commish, also the thing from the original, I wouldn't say original, but the other Fantastic Four films.
Yeah.
He was just in the film The Senior. I think I mentioned it to you guys. Check it out. Lawrence Fishburne. I'm so happy he had this photo available to sign, and I walked right up and he was like, "Oh, look at that." And I said, "That's where it all began, Lawrence, right here with Pee-wee's Playhouse." Just so great. And can I tell you, Lawrence looks good, gang. He looked so good. He had a fabulous suit on, a gorgeous set of green glasses. He looked amazing. But he was behind a curtain as well.
Later. So we'll be talking about
we will.
Lawrence.
Yes, and I'm so excited about that. But yeah, so you can just keep scrolling through, Dan. Like I said, I don't want to say. So again, Steve Burns, it was actually his birthday the day that I saw him over the weekend. But again, shared with him that he was on the Christmas card that year. He did the heart hands with me again right at the table as I was leaving. What a doll. What a sweetheart. Bryce Dallas Howard, gang. So you can get autographs. Some celebrities will do selfies. I was not expecting her to do a selfie, but not only that, there was a sign on her table that said, you can get a picture with a Ron Howard signature included. And
Oh,
I nearly passed the fuck out right then and there. I said, add to cart, baby. And we're going to do a selfie too. God bless. And if you see right over my right shoulder, that is Bryce Dallas Howard's husband, who's also been in things. I apologize. I don't remember his name. I didn't know she was married, let alone to an actor, but he was in Fringe. And I feel bad that I didn't
oh,
recognize him
Fringe.
off the bat
I
because
love
I
that
love
show.
Fringe. Yeah. But so I went up, I got my autograph. I thanked her wholeheartedly for having the Ron Howard autograph available.
Seth
That
Gable.
was pretty wild.
Oh,
Um, Apparently her dad and her uncle go to cons together. So if Ron goes, his brother will go, and vice versa, which is pretty adorable. So I do have that autograph in the reel somewhere here too, Dan. But yeah, she was lovely. She took the time to speak with everyone, and quite frankly, she's a talker if you can get her on a subject. But I was literally, that she was my last autograph before my Ghostbusters photo op, and I was like, Bryce, I apologize. Like, I need to go. Like, I actually ended up like, I couldn't talk to her, and she probably would have let me chat for a little bit longer, but I was sweating bullets at that point. I'm like, I need to friggin' book, gang. But she was absolutely lovely. What a sweetheart. She never went back behind her table. She was always in the front so that she could talk to people face to face without any distance, without any barriers. Whether you took a selfie with her or not, she signed the autograph right, standing right next to you. And I just think that's something that is very rare, and certainly from somebody of her caliber, you know, coming from the family that she comes from, the history that she comes from. Gang, she doesn't need to go to Comic-Cons, but it's really cool that she's
that's
giving people this
awesome.
opportunity. And
Yeah.
she's going to be in Rhode Island this year as well, but obviously since I've already had my time with her, I don't need to meet her again. But it's cool that she's making the circuit. I think that's really wild.
Liz, I'm just gonna say, if you do get a chance to meet Ron Howard, do make sure to ask him about his dead cousin.
I'll
You
die.
know?
I'm telling from the studio. That's all I think about now. When I'm in a film, I sit there and I go, "Oh, they pulled a Ron Howard. It's 30 minutes longer than it needs to be." That's all I think of now.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen the studio, you got to check it out. That was a great
Oh
episode.
yeah.
Anthony
Yep.
Mackie's in that episode too, so check it out.
Yep. Yep. It's and it's hard to tell. It's like Anthony Mackie. It's hard to tell if he's actually acting or anyway.
Yeah.
It's good.
James
Oh, Professor
McAvoy.
X.
He was
Hey.
one of my first autographs over the weekend. Again, extremely long line. I was one of the first people in line to meet him. What a sweetheart. So kind. Same thing. Had a nice conversation, little one-on-one. I don't recall if he shook my hand. I think maybe we did a fist bump at the end, but real sweetheart. I wasn't a huge fan of the picture selections that he had, but you know, you guys, my loyalty is to the X-Men, so I threw it out there. I said, why not? We'll take that photo. But he is just an absolute delight.
I just
So
love how
yeah.
like that X is like the Scottish flag on his face. It's
Yeah,
just like
right. It really
double
is.
entendre.
It's pretty
Yeah.
funny. I wonder if that
And
was like an intentional thing. Who knows?
maybe it
But
was. I don't know.
yeah,
That's
they
I
could have
only
picked
just
another color, and yeah.
Hello Movie Spud. Yeah. This is great. Okay, awesome. And
Elliot Page,
Elliot
I got a
Page.
selfie with them as well, and I had even said to them when I picked this photo, I said, "I'm really sorry that I picked the photo that's like blocked out half your face, but I think it's a really cool photo." So, I love Umbrella Academy, so it was just a delight to meet them. Again, they were very sweet, really kind, like the same height as me, which made me feel great. So that was a really nice experience, and again, a treat. It was one of those, one of those celebrities that you just don't expect to come around. So it was really cool getting to meet them, for
It's you
sure.
know what? This is a photo that Bjorn or Sia would be very proud of. So
Right? For
I'm
sure.
just yeah.
Oh, and
Hello.
Simu,
Oh,
gang.
it's Ken. It's
When I
Ken.
tell you, so he had a great headshot from Barbie, and it said I think it said he's also Ken, something like that.
Yeah.
But I got this photo for you. I got this photo for you folks. And I told Simulu just that. I went up to him. Apparently, I was the first person brave enough to grab this photo for him to sign. So when I put it in front of him, he looked at his handler, the person that was helping him out, and he was like, see? And I said, Simu, listen, I don't want to be that guy, but this is a great photo. And I'm on a YouTube show and we love us a thirst trap picture. So that's why I picked it. I knew y'all were going to be happy about it. And I mean, come on. Look at him. Come on. There you are.
Liz, what did you when you walked up to him? Did you ask to beach him off? Like, was that? Was he like,
I
I'll
did
beat you
not.
any
But
day?
you know what?
No?
If he's gonna be at Rhode Island as well, maybe I'll go back and maybe I'll have him write that next. Like, I challenge you to a beach off or something. I don't know.
No, it's
But he
to
was
it's beat you. Like it's like a
right.
verb. I'll beat you
Right.
any day.
But
Yeah.
he was an absolute sweetheart. And the actress that plays his sister in Shang-Chi was there as well. And there is a video you can find that's circulating around where she goes up and has him sign this exact photo also as like a troll. And he writes in giant letters, "I hate you" on it. And so it was a really sweet moment between the two of them. They were having the best time. So I mean, come on. I couldn't. How can you not? How can you, when the universe presents you with an opportunity such as this? Quite
Yeah,
frankly,
he's just
yes.
Ken.
And I told him how much I adore Kim's Convenience. It was, and this is true. And I did say this to him. It was the very first series I ever watched where the moment it ended, I immediately started it all over again. That's how much I love Kim's Convenience. And it kills me that they never got their final season like they should have gotten. If you guys don't know Kim's Convenience, it's on Netflix. Please watch it. It's just delightful.
Yeah, one of the best
It's
Canadian
what got me through the
sitcoms.
pandemic, quite frankly. It really was. You can keep going, Jen. I don't want to
I mean,
hang
come
too
on,
long
but
on
like we
everything,
gotta
but
hang on to this photo a little bit, you know. It's
maybe I'll make that my
okay.
profile picture for a little while. So the way Comic-Con and the celebrities and everything work, they show up when they can, right? So this year in particular, Thursday and Friday were really, really light. So Thursday and Friday, I only had a total of 8 autographs to get. Again, I met 25 celebrities. Thursday and Friday, I only had 8 to accomplish between the 2 days. And then the rest, Saturday and Sunday, what is that? 25 minus 8. The 13 that were remaining were between Saturday and Sunday. So I finally got a chance to go around and get pictures of some cosplayers. It's something that I scold myself for forgetting to do every single year. And I always see such good shit. So I said, you know what, this year I'm going to make it a point when I have free time, I'm going to take as many photos as I can. So this is just a handful of the cosplayers that were there. Oh my God. I mean, some of them were just outstanding. And I just had to share some of those with you guys because I knew you'd appreciate it. I mean, the guy Gardner, that haircut, get out of here. There's Back to the Future. I mean, there was
That's
quite a
commitment.
number of Supergirls, which was really cool. I got a couple pictures of different people dressed up as Supergirl, but you saw, Fisk was there as well. There was a couple of him as well. Just so creative, the things that people come up with and how they put things together. I thought he looked great. I think he was bummed he had to carry an umbrella around again. We had some weather going on over the weekend, so it is what it is.
He's
but
leaning into it though.
yeah,
He's leaning into it.
he had the cigar. He was fully, in character. It was awesome. It was really awesome.
Love
So
Mr. Terrific.
and
I want
again,
that
Mr.
jacket.
Terrific, he looked great. I mean, you can see Jane behind him from Firefly. So I mean, it's just it's awesome. You can see all kinds of things. And there's, there were so many. As you guys know, I'm not an anime person. There were so many, it's certainly Demon Hunters. Oh my God. Now, of course, I watched the movie after the fact. There's your Ron Howard, Bryce Dallas Howard autograph. And it is a real autograph. It's not a print. That is a real
The
Ron
Howards,
Howard
yeah.
autograph, which is just unbelievable. And there's his brother in the background too.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't sign it. I wish that I had his signature too. I thought that'd be so cool, but it was just how neat is that? Just awesome. And she did have another photo with just her and her father, but it wasn't signed by Ron. So I was like, nah, I'll get the signature, and just in case there's a chance that I never get to meet him. So yeah, pretty awesome.
There was a little bit of penguin mixed in with that Kingpin picture.
But you didn't get to Joey Pants. So this is the vessel. We showed the conga line outside the vessel yesterday. So that's just a view from inside of that structure. I visit it every single year, but just the past couple of years, it's been closed to the public.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so I was able to actually get inside. This time I believe it's 8 stories tall, but you can't go up to the very top.
It's
Um, but
it's
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 been there
like
for
if
a
they
number of years.
like this looks like if this was Hogwarts but in the 21st century with
It
like the
looks like
moving
something from
stairs.
Tron, frankly. Like it's got Tron vibes for sure. So again, for a couple of years, this was the only view you could get from the inside, that you weren't able to go all the way up. But now they've opened it back up so you can go up, which is really awesome. So I finally got the
That
opportunity
is
to do
wild.
that after so
I haven't been
long.
there myself, but I gotta go check this out in person. That
It's
looks amazing.
beautiful.
It
It's
looks like a
really
popcorn
beautiful.
bucket from the outside.
I think it looks like a pine cone myself from the outside, but and there we are. Joe Pantoliano, Joey Pants, as I like to call him. I didn't know what to expect. I said to my girlfriend, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get a selfie with him or not. But I went up there and what a sweetheart, what a dear he was. So I was like, yeah, let's go for it. And the price was right. Like, some of these prices are a little bananagrams, but his was reasonable. So I said, yeah, let's throw on a selfie as well. And I got more than I bargained for. I got the best pictures, I think, of the day with Joey Pants here. So he was, we were just kind of talking, and at one point he was teasing his handler about something, and he cracked himself up, and she caught that moment, and it is just so that's our nice picture. And then look at him, look how sweet, look at how freaking sweet. I just can't, like, who knew Cypher was going to be just such a doll, and it was just that's the best photo I've ever taken in my life, and it makes me so happy.
Low-key hot take, one of my favorite films with Joey Pantoliano in it is Baby's Day Out. I don't think a lot of people know
Okay.
that movie even exists, but I was like,
Okay.
love it, love it.
I love it. So yeah, so he was
Oh,
really
John
kind, exceptionally
photobombing.
oh, there's John. John at Roofman. Let's go
Yeah,
back
John just
for the
went to see the
real.
Roofman at the theater. This is not from New York Comic Con. John just kind of
Yeah.
snuck in here with a yeah.
But again,
Anyway,
I and there's my photo with Elliot. I also met Deborah Ann Wool from Daredevil. I got to meet, as I said, 3 of the 4 Defenders. I was able to get a photo op with Mike Coulter, Charlie Cox, and Kristen Ritter. There we are, right there. I said to Kristen, now first of all, I said this yesterday, and I didn't elaborate. You guys, Kristen Ritter is a woo girl. Who would have thought that she was a woo girl? But she is. She is delightful. She is a cut up. She is so much fun. And when I went up to her, I was like, doesn't Charlie look like he just was somebody, like he was just happy to be a part of the photo? And she's like, yeah, like he looks like he could be. Somebody else had said, yeah, he looks like he's just a normal human, like he doesn't look like he's the
he's very
celebrity in the
unassuming.
photo.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
looks like the two of you are buddies taking photo with celebrities. And
And he's
Kristen's
just
like,
like,
yeah, Mike kind of looks that way too, but then she goes, but look at us, we look good. Like she was so much fun. She was so sweet. And Charlie, normally, guys, the reason I don't do photo ops is because you actually don't get any one-on-one time with the actors. It's literally stand in your spot, look at the camera, smile, and hopefully you took a good photo, and you're fucking done. You're out. Like, you don't get to say hi to them, you don't get to smell them, you don't nothing. Well, I walked up there, Charlie Cox gave me a high five. My podcast producer is good friends with him. So I said, oh, Mike says hi to you. And he was like, what did you say? I said, oh, Mike. He goes, oh, that's really cool. Mike, cool, great. Get in the photo, take the photo. Wonderful. Then later on, when I went to get everybody's autograph, I said it again. I said, oh, hi, me again. Again, Mike says hello, whatever. And he goes, Mike? I said, yeah, Mike, da, da, da. And he goes, oh, yeah. So cool. And, just sign the autograph. Now, it's really interesting. Comic-Con tries really hard to predict who the big names are going to be that year, who the big celebrities, the big draw is going to be. So again, Brendan Fraser, James McAvoy, Sigourney Weaver, Carl Urban, they were all behind a curtain. Lawrence Fishburne, they were all behind a curtain. They had a longer line. And then you also have like holding lines, so it's like a sideline to keep traffic flowing and stuff. They were not prepared for Charlie Cox. They were not prepared for the fandom. They were not prepared for the Daredevil stands. His lines were
It's New York.
insane.
Come on.
But still, I think, you know, again, after the kind of crappy, the kind of lackluster reviews that this season of Daredevil got, I just don't think they expected what they got from the fans. And boy, Charlie is quite the trooper, because Kristen had told me she had just flown in from LA, but Charlie had just flown in from London. The two of them were severely jet
'Cause
lagged.
he's filming
And
Spider-Man, right? Like
yes.
yes.
Well, I honestly expected him to cancel, like he had canceled his appearance at some other cons so that he could film Spider-Man. So what a treat that he showed up for us. But not only did he show up for us, he stayed there. He made sure everyone that had purchased an autograph, had purchased a photo op, got their time with him. And he was so kind. Again, he shook my hand when I got up there for the autograph. We did a fist bump on the way out. I can't say enough wonderful things about Charlie Cox and how kind he is to his fans. So it was a really wonderful experience overall. Mike Coulter, unfortunately for me, wasn't great. He was kind, but he was texting in between every fan. So when you would get up to him, this is what you would see. And no acknowledgement, no, you know, like he's just, and then he'd put the phone down. Oh, hey, you know, and now again, I had heard from other people who had met him before me that he was lovely. He took some time. As I said, there was weather. Who knows? He could have been texting about the state of his flights, his schedule. Anything could have happened. He was, as like I said, he was kind to me, but I really didn't get the kind of interaction with him that I was hoping for. So it happens. But again, I also can't say. I mean, look at the picture. He's happy to be there. I got a great photo. It's not like he had a sourpuss on his face. You know, he wasn't texting in my photo. So at the end of the day, I still got what I came for. And I mean, come on, look how happy I am.
I mean, Liz, would you say that Mike Coulter was a bit cagey when you walked up?
Dan.
I'm
My
just
God. Move on to the next one, Dan. I also met some agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
quick question. Did you like
Yeah.
the new Daredevil season? Because figure drawing was wondering.
I did, but I understood the reason that people had problems with, you know, very, very much like I think this certainly the second half of the Peacemaker season 2 series, right? The pacing was off. It was kind of a mess. It wasn't consistent episode to episode, but I did enjoy it, and I am looking forward to season 2 now that we have gotten the first trailer for season 2. And as we know, our girl Kristen's going to be in season 2, so I can't wait for that. Hopefully Mike will show up at some point as well. I'd love for the gang to get back together. Again, we are missing Iron Fist in this photo, but hey, it was great.
And you know what? They recently posted photos from the writer's room. They've confirmed season 3. So we're going to get a season 3 for Daredevil as well.
Cool.
This to me was kind of special because I loved Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't care anybody who thinks it was a bad show.
Me too.
Clark Gregg, Chloe Bennett, Ming-Na Wen, even from her Stargate days back in Stargate Universe. Love all of these actors. And
I told Clark that Coulson is my favorite Marvel character of all time. Even though people say he's not canon, I don't give a fuck. But if you see here, Clark again looks like he's like reluctantly a part of the photo, and I said that to him. I said, you look like someone like kind of shoved you in there. And he said, it's the ladies, they always pull the fans over to them, so I just look like this extra guy hanging on. But it's true. Look, Chloe, you know, pulled me right in. This was my second time meeting Ming-Na, and then I got her autograph for the second time. So this was actually, so I technically met Ming-Na 3 times. She was lovely. I told her that I had met her in Boston a couple of years back. Chloe complimented my skin. I did have my glitter freckles on, but you really can't see them in these photos. Chloe was so sweet. They were all very kind, very sweet. Clark did say, because someone had said that to him, that, you know, Coulson wasn't a real part of the MCU, and he said, fuck you, which I'll love you forever, Clark. So it's just, again, like I said, for me, the autographs are the most important part because you do get that one-on-one time for the most part with most celebs. And, you know, like I said, I took the opportunity, I got my group photo and I ran through all of their lines to get all of their autographs. And it was just amazing. Who else are we missing, Dan? There's a couple that were there's Hamish Linklater, you guys, you know him from Batman the Caped Crusader. Hamish, this was his first con ever. And when I went up to him, I think I went up to him on Saturday. I said, "Oh, you know, are you enjoying it so far? You know, how are things going?" He had wrapped shooting at 6 o'clock that morning. And I think he got in at noon to start signing autographs and to meet people. And he was lovely. He said he was really enjoying his first con ever. So hopefully he'll be making the circuit in other cities and you guys will get the chance to meet him. He was really, really kind and sweet. So I'm glad he was one of those kind of like last minute, like, do I want to say hi? Do I want to meet him? Because I do know him from other things. And I'm really glad that I did. I think the next time if he comes around again, I'll probably get a selfie with him. He was really, really sweet. And then Yoan is there as well. Go ahead.
By the way, Hamish Linklater is born in Massachusetts. So I don't know if he's got Scottish heritage or not, Fiona, but
yes.
I will say
I believe he does. I was looking up,
Yeah.
there's another famous Linklater, but they're not related. So I was kind of looking up his origin and I believe he is Scottish in origin. Yes.
There you go. I loved him in Legion too. I think he was in Legion, unless I'm mistaking for somebody else. And then I think he's in Gen V right now. So
he is in Gen V. Yes, he is. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And of
Oh,
course,
Tatiana. Oh my God. I
Orphan
almost
Black.
forgot Tatiana.
Yeah.
I will say she had an absolutely stunning She-Hulk 8x10 that I was torn between this one and that one. I just think this photo is pretty badass. So I met her again, absolutely lovely. She was wearing a mask almost the entire time because apparently, as legend has it, a couple cons back, she was hit pretty hard with COVID. So she was behind a shield and had a mask, but yet she still did photo ops and came out for selfies with people. So I don't know. But she was doing her best to try and stay safe. But again, absolutely delightful. She was such a sweetheart. She was really, really kind. She had some pretty cool Orphan Black photos where like it was like it's, you know, 3 or 4 different characters of her that she played.
Her most iconic role. I mean, for a lot of people, like, I mean, She-Hulk, yes, but like,
I mean,
Orphan
she was
Black is
also
what
in
put
the
her on
Monkey.
map.
Me
Yeah.
and John liked the Monkey.
Yeah.
She was in the Monkey as well.
Mhm.
So it was really cool to get to talk to her. Again, she was one of those that I was like, I only really know her from this, and I still haven't watched She-Hulk yet, but I'm so glad that I did talk to her because she was absolutely lovely. She was really, really cool. And and again, while you're waiting in line for hours on end, you see how these actors interact with the other fans as well. And she was just absolutely just so sweet and dear to everyone. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
But we still, and Yoan was in there somewhere too. Yoan Gufford. Yeah. I sent Dan this picture. I don't know why.
I don't know why this ended up in
This
here.
was one of
There's
the
Ewan.
stickers I got. So there's a Yoan Gufford again from Fantastic Four. He was Mr. Fantastic. I know him from The Ringer, which was a short-lived single season series with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Zoe Dutch, but I absolutely loved that show. I think about that show regularly, and it's been gone for quite some time, but he, again, same thing, was delightful. We had a couple photos where he like threw up the 4 and it was awkward as hell. And I was like, I'm not doing that. But yeah, I think he didn't know what to do in the selfies. So he was throwing up 4s and he was throwing up the
like
thumbs. And I was like, you could just stand there, dude. Like, we're cool. Like, but he was really sweet. It was nice to meet him as well. Again, that was one that I said to Abby, why don't you come with me?
Yeah.
So that's the nice thing. If you make friends at cons and if they meet a celebrity you're not meeting, you can still kind of get in there and
Nice.
shake hands and stuff. So that's
awesome.
what happened.
I mean,
there.
he's
Yeah.
talked about he would love to come back as Mr. Fantastic in Secret Wars. He's also,
I mean, you never know.
he was in Bad Boys, the last Bad Boys movie.
Yep.
So I mean,
Yep.
he's doing good. It's great to see that.
Yeah. Was that everybody, Dan? I think that
I
was
think
everybody.
So. I think that was everybody.
So again, you know, like I said, my goal was the Ghostbusters. That's all I cared about. again, this year was a little crazy as far as the schedule. Like I said, I only needed to meet 8 celebrities in 2 days, and then the other 2 days I needed to meet 13 and accomplish the 3 photo ops. So it's very rare when I go to Comic-Con that I have time to shop, that I have time to take pictures of cosplayers, that I have time to go to panels. But it worked out this year with Thursday and Friday being really light, so I was able to meet a bunch of cool vendors, see a lot of cool things. I bought a Labubu for someone for Christmas, and then, like I said, get to take some really cool pictures of the awesome cosplayers that were there. Did I send you the picture of Galactus? I'll have to send that to you, Dan. But I mean, that was the goal and mission accomplished. I'm a happy girl. Hopefully, I can continue the trend and come back, with some awesome stories from Rhode Island, but nothing's going to top that as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
I don't have it right now, but we did have it somewhere. By the way, my favorite photo of all of the ones that you have shared today is this one.
That's the best photo. That's the best photo of the whole weekend. I mean, I look great. Joey Pants looks great. This is a wonderful moment we happened to capture. I couldn't be happier.
You look like two old friends who just like met up for the first time in years.
Just having a yarn, having a good old time. It was really great. Like I said, everybody, I really didn't get any kind of frosty reception with the exception of that situation with Mike Coulter, but everybody else was really awesome. And David Chiklis, Michael Chiklis, he was the first actor I met of the entire weekend. He was the one that came out first, but his 8x10s hadn't been delivered yet. So it was literally just him at a bare table, awkwardly looking at his line, and he came out first thing and he said, guys, I'm really sorry. The 8x10s aren't here yet. We're working on it. So we were all just kind of making eye contact with him and staring at him, and he was staring at us, and we were waving. And like I said, I was able to go up to him and tell him how much I loved the film The Senior that he was just in. And, it was really nice. So everybody was really great. We had a great time.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
I mean, it sounds like
and thanks everybody for your comments.
Amazing weekend, and everybody in the chat's loving it. So I mean, Liz,
it's a lot gang.
Right?
I say the Oscars are my Super Bowl, the Comic-Cons are my Olympics, because it's a test in fortitude, it's endurance. A test in patience. I don't eat when I'm there, so it's a whole hell of a lot. I walk about 6 miles every day for the 4 days, sometimes a little longer, but for me, it's worth it. This is what I enjoy doing. So.
Yep. Awesome. Well, we're going to look forward to more of these reviews, because I believe you have more cons. Is there one more event coming up this year, or is that it?
Rhode Island Comic-Con comes up the second weekend of November. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll look forward to that. Until then, guys, let us know what you thought about all the insights from Liz from New York Comic Con 2025. We'd love to hear from you. And right now, we're gonna pivot away from Comic-Con into some hot takes, because it's that time, people. You put them up and we knock them down. So let's get into some hot take debate.
Who is that?
Retarded.
Retired. I'm already in the void. I'm not trying to get canceled again.
I don't like you.
And when you take on the responsibility, great power will come.
Chicks dig the car.
This is why Superman works alone.
Black rubber.
Ooh, you nasty, mon beauté rouge. Les éléments temps relais, hein?
Not a single word.
You bring your scarred psyche.
I'm about to make a name for myself here.
Pathetic psychopath.
Begging content. You were just leaving.
Oh, no, 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 no! Nobody!
All right, it's time for some hot takes, everybody. We're going to get into it. We've got a number of hot takes today. I won't give away the exact amount just yet, because you guys went into the YouTube community post section, where we usually put up a message saying, hey, you got any hot takes? And you guys came through with a bunch of good ones. Liz, it's time to get into some hot takes. So let's dive into it, shall we? We're going to we're gonna start off here with the first hot take. Once again, you put them up, we knock them down. It's very easy. We will put up a post during the day asking you guys for for your hot take in the YouTube community post section. You go in there, you put it in the comment section, and then we bring it into the show. So Tony did just that, and Tony's hot take is fans are more forgiving of Marvel heroes killing villains than DC's good guys killing bad guys. While there are those that don't cross the line on both sides, it just seems characters like Iron Man and Captain America, it's okay, but Superman and Batman's off limits, going mostly on movies and TV, but open to all. Liz, basically Tony's saying it's all right if Iron Man and Captain America might kill a few dudes, but if Batman and Superman do it, everybody loses their mind. Like,
because that's what we're used to, right? From Jump Street, Marvel has been a little harder, a little grittier. They're willing to get their hands dirty and sometimes, become the heel. Whereas Superman, he doesn't kill people, he brings them to justice, he turns them in, he works with law enforcement. Batman, that famous line from Christian Bale, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. It's we expect it from one and we expect something else from the other, and that's just how it is. So yeah, it is still kind of shocking if Superman unalives somebody.
It's and hello, King's Port Kyle. I think for me, the biggest thing about this is the fact that with Iron Man and Captain America, their mythos doesn't really have a lot of like the no kill rule or like the popular culture memory of
Tony
like,
Stark
Superman.
was a warmonger before he became a superhero,
Exactly.
so.
I mean, and Captain America fought in World War II. No shit, he killed a few Nazis. So, I mean, come on,
Just
like
a few,
it's
yeah.
but it's also a matter of like, on the DC side, they're part of the Justice League, and this is not Judge Dredd. They're bringing the bad guys to justice.
I love Judge Dredd.
Well, I mean, Man of Steel and the DCEU in general, it doesn't matter. Batman and Superman will, I mean, and honestly, in every live action iteration, they'll usually, kill, but it's just a matter of like, how much of the goriness do you want to have seen. But anyway, what I was saying earlier is Batman and Superman are part of the Justice League. They like to bring the criminals to justice, whereas Iron Man and Captain America are in the Avengers. They're coming in to avenge, I guess, the other good guys that got killed. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is, but I think it's a good take. I don't know if it's the hottest take. It's more, but it is an accurate observation, Randall. Tony Randall, actually. Why am I calling you by your last name? This is not a basketball team. But you guys let us know. Is that a hot take? Because I don't know. It's not the hottest take, but it is a really, really good point, Tony, because it doesn't get talked about enough. It does not get talked about enough. Hey, John does not love Michael Keaton, M2G. I think he made
love
it pretty
Michael
clear
Keaton. I love him.
he was not a fan of it, which was a hot take in and of itself.
I would die if he ever came around to Comic-Con. Oh my God.
Yeah. Michael Keaton's not coming to Comic-Con because everybody would want his autograph.
You never know, man. Like I said, I didn't expect half the people that were there to show up, so it's wild.
Fair. All right, moving on to the next hot take. Game Freakness coming in with a hot take. I'm sure you've seen it before, but I think he's pointing at he's got a good justification, at least in his logic. So Game Freakness is saying James Cameron's Avatar is overrated. It only got big because it came out in a time when 3D was big for cinemas and used technology that wasn't used before, but the movies themselves are boring. I've seen the first one once and found the story boring. Well, here's the thing, Game Freakness. You're both objectively and subjectively wrong, because this hot take is, I'm sorry, but it's a bad take. It's a bad take.
No, I don't disagree with him. I don't. I think to go back to what we were talking about earlier, he's Ron Howard the fuck out of these films. They're far too long. And I have said this before on this show, the biggest problem with Avatar is that audiences, the majority of audiences, the average Joes that sit down to these films, the ones that love them and the ones that hate them, The majority of people, when they sit down to these films, they are not watching a technical masterpiece. They are not watching Sigourney Weaver in real time holding her breath underwater for 7 minutes. And yes, bitches, she can do it for 7 fucking minutes because of these movies. But nobody makes that connection when they're sitting there watching it, because it looks like a cartoon. It looks like a Pixar film. It looks like, these alien creatures. If he had taken these amazing special effects, these amazing sets, these amazing practical things, these practical effects that he put into this very technical film, and showed it to us in reality, we would have way more appreciation for not only what the actors put into it, but also for the world building, for all of the technological advances that he's done with the sets and all of that. But unfortunately, you're not watching Sigourney Weaver hold her breath for 7 minutes. You're watching a blue alien. And that's the biggest disconnect for so many people. And I get it. I totally get it. It's so hard to appreciate somebody doing something like that when you're not seeing them do that thing. You're seeing a cartoon in a made up environment. And it's a shame. And that's what's preventing Avatar for, yes, it is still going to break all kinds of records. Yes, James Cameron has contributed so many incredible advances to technology in the film industry and the industry at large. Quite frankly, the stuff that he's doing with underwater things and the Titanic and all that stuff, unbelievable. And we shouldn't dismiss him for that. But unfortunately, the package that he's wrapping it up in is one of fantasy and delusion. And as human beings, we're not walking in going, oh, is, Kate Winslet going to hold her breath for 5 hours? Like, we're going in and we're watching blue aliens fight in a magical world. So it's hard to talk, yes, everyone's going to go see it. Everyone's going to go see it. But A, the films are way too long. And B, how many of us out there think, oh, Avatar, yeah, I'll pop that in, I'll watch that again, or oh, it's on cable. Oh, and it's very rarely on cable also. It's not one of those that you want to watch over and over and over again, and that's the real problem with it. And it's a shame, because James is going to basically devote the rest of his life to these films, as well as the actors who are a part of it. And while it's going to get the attention and the millions and billions of dollars, it's not going to capture the audience's attention forever. And we're going to talk about it as far as dollar signs. We're going to talk about it as far as
here's the
technology.
thing, though.
We're not going to talk about it as far as performance or script or story.
Liz, I'm sorry, but I gotta disagree with you on a lot of levels.
And that's
because here's
fine,
the
man.
thing.
I get it. I know you really like these films.
It's not. Look, I'm not gonna say that the storytelling is revolutionary in terms of like if you're looking at the script itself, that the story structure and what they're doing with character development is something that has never been done before. It's not that. But as far as the take itself, Game Freakness, what he's talking about, Avatar is not overrated, because here's the thing. If you call it, it's kind of the same thing with like I said, the original Star Wars movies. It wasn't revolutionary storytelling. I mean, and quite frankly, a lot of some of the action and other elements don't hold up from the original Star Wars trilogy, but they were revolutionary because they changed the way movies are made forever.
No, absolutely. And again, that's my point. We're
and
only going to talk about it in those terms. That's what I mean.
that's
And it's
true.
a shame. But it was the same thing with Titanic, right? When he did Titanic, he changed the game. And we talk about that. But like I said, it takes away from the actors. It takes away from those practical effects that you did work so hard to put into when you put a covering of a blue alien on top of it. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's oversimplifying what they're doing. Like, I think that's
no, it 100% is, because that's how the average Joe walks into a movie theater. They don't walk in thinking, wow, that's actually real. They're not picking the movie apart like that, because it is so technologically advanced. And James has done such a good job of world building that it's pure fantasy to the
Yeah,
average Joe,
but
and they
this is the
can't
thing though.
appreciate it for what it is.
But this is the thing though. Like, there's a reason why. Here's the thing. I think you, in your point alone, James Cameron himself owns what, 3 out of the top 5 highest grossing movies of all time,
100%.
including the 2 Avatar
Absolutely.
movies and Titanic. As
Absolutely.
one, sure, you got the Russo brothers in there with 2 Avengers movies, but we can all see, you know, firmly attest to the fact that it's not because they were the only people working on it. There's an entire team of Marvel, you know, creators and a writer's room and Kevin Feige and everybody. James Cameron, I think, is on a different level. I mean, you
Oh,
can
he is.
say that people went to see the movie and made $1 billion, and it's a great movie. 2 movies almost a decade and a half apart made over $2 billion. I think, to me, that goes to show there's enough people out there who go to see it, not just once, but multiple times, because none of those Avatar movies opened over $100 million opening weekend. They made their money $2 billion plus worth, including the highest grossing movie of all time, over the course of months. So people kept
But they
going
also
in.
did that with re-releases. They also did that by staying in theaters longer than a lot of other films have and will continue to do. I think that's
And
also
I
got
don't
to
know if
be
I
a
just,
factor at play there as well.
like, here's the thing about 3D. When you talk about what Avatar did for 3D, and what Avatar: The Way of Water did with 3D, you're talking about a situation that is more akin to talking about Shakespeare writing Romeo and Juliet, and then every other, you know, tragic, you know, love story ending in a tragedy movie that has come out since. James Cameron did 3D in a way that was innovative. It changed the way, like, in terms of 3D
Right.
projection in a cinema.
And I'm not
And
and
then
I'm
every
not
other
arguing that
studio,
at all.
no,
Right.
no, I'm just saying, but like every other studio went in and they started to, like, do these you know,
Yeah.
conversions, which were terrible. 3D itself was definitely, you know, a fad, but the way
Yeah.
James Cameron does 3D with Avatar movies and the way he does it is the right way to do it. It feels so immersive. You don't even know you're watching a 3D movie. Not to
I
mention,
mean, I
I
personally,
disagree. I think
I
these things
hate
are
3D for the most
photorealistic
part.
as
I think it
hell,
takes, yeah.
you know?
But again, that's what I'm saying. The fact that we keep talking about them in terms of the technology, that's what's disappointing for me. And that's why I'm saying, yes, people are seeing it in the theater because it is the 3D effect. If you like 3D, it's the best in around. It's the best in the game. You're never going to see anything and more superior. I'm not refuting any of that. But again, you can't watch it like that at home. And it's not one of those films that anybody thinks about and goes, "Oh yeah, I'm going to unwind and put Avatar in today." Like again, I think he would be even more successful if they were a little shorter and you know, I don't know. They advertise well, they market well, but for me again, I think it to me it does a disservice to the actors and all the hard work that the actors do when, like I said, it unfortunately gets blue washed when I don't see Sigourney Weaver holding her breath for 7 minutes going from one end of a
Yeah,
tank
but I
to
mean, but that
another.
was more for
You
the
know what I
marketing.
mean?
I
But
mean,
I would be
honestly,
more
like,
impressed with
nobody, like you
that. And
said,
it just I
here's the
just
thing. It's different when Tom Cruise tells you he held his breath for 10 minutes because he did a stunt in Mission Impossible, because you know that's what you're gonna see in the movie.
well, and it's
N-
expected of
With
Tom
Sigourney
Cruise.
Weaver, it's
Do
nobody's
I think
expecting for
Sigourney
you to
Weaver is
see
going to
that.
hold her breath for 7 or Kate Winslet for 5? Like that's cool
Yeah,
to
no,
me. That's
no, but
wild
that
to
was all
me.
marketing. But that was all marketing. It wasn't like they were gonna see the characters do that in the movie. I'm just saying
But
it
that's my
was.
point.
But I can separate the marketing from
But
the
they
movie
do it in the
itself.
movie, but that's my point. But they're doing it and you see a blue person doing it. Even though
Yeah,
even though
well,
that is absolutely the actors holding their breath the entire time. That is
I will
all of
say,
that
like,
is
okay,
absolutely
it
going
is a
on.
little, but the thing is, it's wholly encompassing fantasy in a way that's narrow. I'm just on the side of, like,
No, I'm not disagreeing with that either. But like I said, it's for that's, you know, and again, listen, the numbers are the numbers. That and my opinion certainly isn't going to take away from their viewership and from getting butts in seats. Certainly not with the international community. But just for me, they've never captured my attention. I find them to be way too long. I don't care for the writing. And again, knowing what I know, when I'm sitting there watching it, I have to take myself out of the film and be like, don't forget that's a real person doing that. Like and that's what's disappointing to me, because I think it's a missed opportunity both for the actors and for, you know, do the same stuff in a more realistic, like he could have had Leonardo DiCaprio holding his breath for 8 minutes in Titanic. Like there, you know what I mean? Like there are,
It's okay. I
it's
think
I can
it's
appreciate one
it's
and still have
it's
a problem with it,
it's
you
fair.
know?
It's fair enough. But I'm just like you can never doubt Jimmy C. You can never doubt James Cameron is gonna make that money. And I think this year
Oh, no,
the highest
100%.
grossing movie of the year is gonna be Avatar: Fire and Ash,
Oh,
much
I
like the last
absolutely
two were.
agree.
So come on.
China loves him.
It's
China loves
well,
him.
not just I mean the whole world loves him, quite frankly. Like those movies make money everywhere. But anyway, thank you, Game Freakness, for what was evidently a hot take. MTG coming in with another hot take, saying James Gunn is top comic book movie director ever, as he successfully had 3 critically acclaimed movie franchises and 2 critically acclaimed shows, with 7 total projects: 3 Guardians, 2 Peacemakers, 1 Creature Commandos, and 1 Suicide Squad. Liz, do you agree with that? James Gunn is the GOAT
Yeah,
of
a
comic
top.
book
I
movie
wouldn't say he's
directors?
the greatest of all time, but yeah, top, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, I changed my last name to Marvel after seeing Guardians for the first time, the first Guardians. I was there for the movie marathon when they released Guardians 3. I watched 1, 2, and 3 back to back. That was how we got into 3. I love James Gunn. I've met his brother Sean. I like, I've met Michael Rooker. I've met as many people that are James adjacent as I possibly can at this point. I love him as a director, as a human being, as a creative. But again, greatest of all time, maybe not, but that's not what we're saying here. So yeah, so I agree with this take. He's a top comic movie director for sure.
I think JC meant to say director in his comment, but I don't think. But the question is, I don't think it's about top. I think it's well, at least, well, I guess he's implying here MTG, and MTG. I don't know if you're still in the chat. The idea that James Gunn is the best director working in the comic book, movie or TV, in just the genre as a whole. Yeah, okay. MTG clarifying. He's saying James Gunn is the GOAT, the greatest of all
Right.
time
Okay,
for
then no.
comic book media. Tony would put the Russo brothers above Gunn.
No, Tony, God bless. No, babe.
No,
No, babe.
no.
I appreciate
I
you,
mean,
but the
Sam
Russo brothers
Raimi
not met.
has entered the
Not,
chat,
oh,
I guess.
no, JC. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Look, I'm just gonna say this. It's not about quantity, and I don't care if it's about like, oh yeah, he
Yeah.
did 3 Guardians movies. I mean, look, here's the thing. James Gunn has a case on the when it comes down to he did it at Marvel, he did it at DC. I don't think anybody else can kind of say the same.
Yeah,
And he's done
absolutely.
it on TV and also at the movies. But here's the thing. It's overall, it's about, if you look at his batting average, I'm like, none of his movies and TV shows I would give a 9.5 out of 10 outside of,
Right.
I would say even the best Guardians movie was like a 9 out of 10, and that's actually
Well,
really high praise.
yeah, and you also have to consider
But
that not a single thing that he's done has come without criticism. I mean, we just had a whole conversation about Peacemaker, and people are calling for his resignation over one bad finale episode. So I don't agree. Greatest of all time, absolutely not. I think top, yes, he's at the top of his game. He's at the top of the leaderboard. He's at the top of the Billboard charts. But the GOAT, no.
yeah, here's the thing. For me, like MTG, I see what you're saying. It's like you look at his overall resume and the consistency of it. Sure, but when we talk about excellence and the greatest, I think James Gunn consistently delivers above average to really good content. And even
Yeah.
then, I think of the 3 Guardians movies, which I think have the greatest consistency of anything he's done, even then there was variation, enough
There are
variation that you could,
missteps. Yeah.
yeah. Whereas I think that in terms of overall, just if you look at just what they did and the overall quality of it, to me, it's Christopher Nolan, Sir Christopher Nolan, because the Dark Knight trilogy is not only the best superhero movie trilogy of all time. The Dark Knight is the best superhero movie of all time, and it's one of those things where, I mean, James Mangold did Logan, but he also did Wolverine. I would have put him close to it. But and to me, it's not about like, oh, the Russos made the most money or something because they did the Avengers movies and Captain America and all that stuff. Or John Favreau did Iron Man, and but they also did Iron Man too. So I just think overall, when you look at just the best filmmaker who, I mean, and again, Christopher Nolan's never going to do a comic book movie again.
Right.
But I think he just did the best job. So in terms of the best director to have worked in the comic book genre, or directing comic book movies, I think it would be, again, it's very opinionated. In terms of batting average overall, I mean, here's the thing. If you're if this is a baseball analogy, James Gunn is the guy you want to have, either leading off your lineup or have him coming in like, at the top half of your lineup, so that he's out there and he's constantly getting you runs, whether it's RBIs or a home run every, other at bat. He's really good at that. Does that mean he's going to hit a grand slam every time? No. In fact,
No.
it's going to be really rare, but his average is really high. And that's the way I look at it. Whereas I think, Christopher Nolan was just like, Ryan Coogler's another one. Ryan Coogler, although I think Wakanda Forever was not as good, but I mean, certain Black Panther was amazing.
The circumstances were a little,
yeah.
But
totally
no, but
understandable.
again, I think also the fact, if we're going from quantity, the quantity is actually something that's against him, because again, that's more opportunity for criticism. It's more opportunity to piss people off, to alienate people, to and again, when you continue to have, even if it's just the one, we talked about Superman for 6 months. Okay. That month of July was the best month we ever did as far as subscribers on this show because of Superman. And yet we all walked away from the film going, didn't like that part. Wasn't a fan. That wasn't necessary that they did that. So he's not the GOAT, because, and people will make mistakes. He's only human. But he does make some missteps here or there. I don't think the third, Guardians Volume 3 was the best of all the Guardians. I don't, again, we already had the discussion about Peacemaker season 2 and the things that happened there. I agree with John. I think the pacing overall of that season was kind of wonky, and the way that they rounded out some of those characters was wrong. But again, yes, I give it to him for his vision. I give it to him for his passion. I give it to him for trying to be as true to all of the characters as he possibly can. So I think he's the top, absolutely, but no, greatest of all time, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think I think we were still a couple of really, really good, if not all-time great movies away from giving James Gunn that title. But I think he's really well positioned to get there if he wanted to get there. But really good hot take there, MTG. Moving on to our last hot take of today's show, we got Caleb. I think Caleb was in the chat earlier. I don't know if you're still here. Caleb Underwood giving us a hot take saying The Godfather insists upon itself, and The Departed is peak Scorsese. Liz, what do you think?
Yeah. Again, for me, and y'all aren't gonna like this, but I think statistically, more men prefer The Godfather than women. For me, The Godfather's boring as fuck. I'm sorry. All of them. Way too fucking long. Can't do it. They Ron Howard the fucking Godfather before Ron Howard. I love The Departed. There are plenty of other Scorsese films that I like better than that. Killers of the Flower Moon, also great, too long. But I love The Departed. I don't know that I have any notes for The Departed. I would say that is peak Scorsese as well. I would agree with that.
Well, The Departed is the only movie that Scorsese won an Oscar for Best Director. It finally broke through, so there you go. I will say though, like The Godfather, like I get it, The Godfather feels very pretentious for a lot of younger movie fans, which I imagine Caleb is on the younger side. And you can correct us if you're wrong, Caleb, but The Godfather is one of those classics, right? It's one of those things where you've seen a lot of The Godfather is like Shakespeare. Once you see the movie, you're gonna be like, I've seen this stuff before. but you've seen that stuff before because every other filmmaker that has done that stuff since The Godfather took it from Francis Ford Coppola's Godfather. So in that sense, it doesn't come across as revolutionary right now, but it certainly, you know, is
Bronx Tale is
considered one of the
great.
greatest movies of all time.
Yeah.
The Departed also, I think it is, you know, if you're looking at a complete, you know, utter encapsulation, distillation of who Martin Scorsese is as a filmmaker, The Departed, which itself is a remake, is an
I
amazing
mean,
movie.
we can throw out Gangs in New York
And
too.
one of the best. Yeah.
You know? Listen, I will say, I do not consider myself a movie critic by any means, barely a movie reviewer. I like what I like. I do not like artsy films. I do not like films where, oh, but did you see the cinema, that shot, da, da, da. I don't fucking go to the movies for that stuff, gang. If I wanted that, I'd read a poem. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I am there for. So for me, if it's 3 hours, if it's 2 hours plus, that bitch needs to be a moving right along. If I feel like I've been in the theater for 8 hours, it's a problem for me. So I appreciate that what I'm saying is sacrilegious, and a lot of people, how dare you, and you don't know fuck all. I'm coming from a single individual's perspective of what I like, what I don't like. I said the same thing about Anemone last night. I liked Anemone a lot. Did it need to be 2 hours? Probably not. Did they take some artistic license, thrown in some random bits that I didn't understand? Sure did. Am I going to then go to film school and sit down and analyze it to death? No, I'm not. Not interested. Not a part of my world. Not something I need to do. If the director wants to come by and write me a note and explain what the fuck they were doing in Anemone, fine by me, but I don't need it. I liked 90% of the film. The 10% I didn't care for, oh well, too bad, so sad. I feel the same way about The Godfather. Yes, I appreciate that it's a classic. I appreciate that it, just like Avatar, is beloved by billions of people across decades. That's great. Not my favorite. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm the guy doing my job. You must be the other guy. I can quote Departed, The Departed all the time.
I love The Departed. I love The Departed.
Leo, you
That's
got
like
Leo,
the
Matt
best
Damon,
Alec Baldwin we've ever. I
fucking
mean,
cocksuckers. Come on, it's all
Mark Wahlberg, Alec Baldwin, Matt Damon, Jack goddamn
Martin
Nicholson,
Sheen.
Leo. I mean, truly,
like the whole rat impression. I'm like, it's like Jack Nicholson.
Oh
just
my fucking god!
Come on, like,
go fuck yourself. Love it, love it.
Oh, you on your period? Like you're having cranberry juice?
Love it.
Love
everything about it.
I mean, I think Martin Scorsese, in a career that is incredibly decorated, he's, you know, you can tell that when we're talking about like, oh, what is this greatest movie of all time? People are arguing between Godfather, Goodfellas. I don't even think anybody mentioned Raging Bull, but like there's Casino, and he's done so many movies since. I mean, he just had highest to lowest on, or no, that's not Martin Scorsese. Never mind, that's Spike Lee. I'm mixing up my filmmakers. Yeah. But of course, he did Killers of the Flower Moon. He's got a documentary about him coming out on Apple TV Plus.
Which
so
I'm
many things.
So looking forward to. That looks awesome.
Yeah. Mean Streets. I mean, you know what? We should do another greatest directors of all time tier. I don't even know if you've ever done that, because then that would be such a big list. I mean, you know, greatest living directors of all time. We could do that. I could have Francis Ford Coppola in there, Christopher Nolan, Denis Villeneuve, what am I forgetting? She did. She was married to James Cameron back.
You're talking about Catherine Bigelow.
Catherine Bigelow, James Cameron. Ron Howard. You can have Martin Scorsese in there, of course. Quentin Tarantino, that would be a Ryan Coogler. We can throw so many, you know, even I don't know if you would consider Jordan Peele as somebody right now, but anyway, with that, guys, that was Hot Take Debate. Thank you for checking in. The hot takes are always fun. We could make this its own little show if we wanted to. Maybe we'll think about doing that as a member special. But in the meantime, we got some quick hits to get into, and then Liz, after that, you'll be able to step away for the night, and then we'll get into some more DC talk. But let's dive into the quick hits. So I'm gonna hit that quick hits music, and boom, there it is. Let's get into the quick hits, shall we? Let me get Jared Leto off my screen. Okay. I still had him on up on the video viewer. Okay. All right. Oh, wait, I forgot to share. There we go. Jim Carrey eyeing. So the first quick hit is Jim Carrey is now eyeing a live-action Jetsons movie that Colin Trevorrow is set to be directing over at Warner Brothers. Liz, would you like to see Jim Carrey as one of the Jetsons, directed by Colin Trevorrow at Warner Brothers?
While I was reading this article, I was trying to picture Jim Carrey. I'm assuming he would play George Jetson, and I don't know that I see it. I don't know that I want to see it, because I picture that face whenever he's talking, doing that, like doing his like, his oh God, Ace Ventura, like. Even though I love him in the Sonic films, and I'm really happy he keeps coming back for the Sonic films, I don't know if he's a great actor though. He could surprise me, he did Truman Show, he did, but I'll see it, I'll see it. But I don't, as of right now, I think I need a trailer in order to convince me that this is a good idea.
You know what I'm wondering? Wasn't Jim Carrey supposed to be retired, like, before the last Sonic movie?
Before Sonic he was retired. Before the first Sonic.
Did he change his mind? Did he manifest a return?
I mean, I think it's like a Daniel Day-Lewis situation, right? Where he kind of lost that spark and it wasn't fun for him anymore. And then all of a sudden a project came along and he was like, oh, yeah, this is actually a good time. I think that might be it. And maybe now he's not trying to, and who knows, maybe he was trying to chase an Oscar for a little while, and when that didn't happen, he got a little jaded. Maybe now he's just having fun for the sake of having fun. I don't know. But maybe he's a diehard Jetsons fan and this has been his lifelong dream the whole time. I couldn't tell you. I'll see it, but as of right now, I'd like a trailer. That's what I want.
Yeah, well, the trailer's probably a ways off, but I wonder if they'll play it straight.
And Sydney Sweeney will probably play Judy or some bullshit that'll piss me off, and I don't know.
Well, Liz, the next quick hit that we got here. Oh, Fiona's just joined at the stroke of midnight as a new member.
She was in here before, Fiona. But yeah, thanks, Fiona. Demon Hunters.
We did not see that, Watcher, but we will get into that another time.
The K-pop girls were at Comic-Con, but I hadn't watched the film yet. So I was like, oh, cool. It was a mob scene anyway, gang. Like I think, I don't even know that I actually laid eyes on them. That's how many people they had in their line. But this is cool. Take all the kids. Have a great friggin' time. I love this damn movie. I love this damn soundtrack. I'm so happy for them. Make all that money, K-pop Demon Hunters. Y'all slay.
That emoji's not coming through on the chat here on screen, but Fiona's already put in her custom emojis to use. Okay.
I see that. Go ahead, girl.
The K-pop Demon Hunters sing-along returning to theaters Halloween weekend. Are you guys excited to go see it? Let us know, of course. Oh, we got the Super Bulge emoji. Okay. Wow.
Super Bulge.
Moving on. Okay. So, Liz, earlier, we were talking about Lawrence Fishburne being at New York Comic Con. Of course, he's recently said that he wants to return to the MCU, except he wants to play Professor X, Charles.
I'm here for it.
Xavier
I'm here for
of
it,
the
babe.
X-Men.
I'm here for it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm all in. Lawrence, you can have whatever you want, babe. Whatever you want. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I can't wait. He would be
I have
great.
I have no qualms with this. I have no qualms with this whatsoever.
He would be the most intimidating Professor X too. Like he can kick your ass. Like if he wanted
he's a bad bitch. 100%. No qualms. No qualms given.
All right, moving on to the next thing. Liz, of course, Daredevil. We talked about you got the photos with the stars of the show.
March 4th,
season
2026. I also meant Vincent D'Onofrio 2 years ago. Forgot to mention that.
Absolutely. So March 4th, like you said, Liz, 2026. It's coming out at the the early part of spring, and you guys can see season 2, season 3 also currently in pre-production. So there we go. And then of course we'd mentioned Sir Christopher Nolan. Also, he's now the president. Liz, remember, he's the president of the DGA. Therefore, It's President Sir Christopher Nolan lavishing praise on Dwayne Johnson in The Smashing Machine, saying, "I don't think you'll see a better performance this year." Liz, do you agree?
I saw this film, and no, maybe not a better performance out of Dwayne Johnson, but I just saw Anemone with Daniel Day-Lewis, babe. So no, not the best performance of the year. The best performance of Dwayne Johnson's life, absolutely. So cool. I mean, that's really kind, though. If I were The Rock, I'd pee a little if I saw this headline. So good for him. Good for him. Get your flowers. That's
I think
great.
this probably just revived Dwayne Johnson's Oscar campaign for The Smashing Machine. So
I mean, maybe, but he's not going to get one.
we'll see. We'll see.
No.
Well, hey, speaking of Oscar campaigns, the Daniels are familiar with one of those, and their
Cool.
event movie, which, if you remember, it was taken off the Universal calendar. We still don't know what it really is, but the movie has been put back on the Universal calendar for November 19th, 2027. Liz, are you excited for the Everything Everywhere All at Once guys to come back, the Daniels, to give you another
Whatever it
banger of a
is, I
movie?
bet you it's quirky and whimsical. I loved it. I really enjoyed Everything Everywhere All at Once. Do I believe it should have won the Oscar that year? No. Let alone all the Oscars that it got. But good for them. I'm excited to see what they've got coming down the line. It'll be enjoyable, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what this turns into, because I mean, God, like Everything Everywhere All at Once is such a good movie, and now they've got the budget. Kate Blanchett with the budget with Universal. Let's see what they can do with that. All right, moving on to the next thing. Well, Liz, we mentioned the other day there was a Bosch sequel, or was it a spin-off with Maggie Q that got renewed? Now they've also greenlit a prequel series called Startup Watch. Is greenlit for MGM Plus, which is a sister streaming service to Amazon Prime. Cameron Monaghan, of course, used to play the Joker in the Gotham show as young Harry, and then Omari Hardwick also in the show. Of course, young Harry being, of course, Tyler. Why am I forgetting his name? Titus Veliver, who's of course a titular character Bosch. He's playing a young Harry. So, what do you think?
I don't mean to be rude, but who the actual fuck is watching Bosch to the point where now they continue to get these spin-offs? Literally every time we get an article about Bosch, me and John go, "Oh fuck, that show is still on." But so the fact that it's getting spin-offs, and also MGM Plus, who the fuck is watching MGM Plus anything? It's good for them, great for them. Cameron Monaghan, you were done dirty in Tron Ares, and I'm so sorry. I would have liked to see more of you in that film. And I also met him at Comic-Con. But gang, this makes no sense in my universe, but good for all involved. Great news.
Indeed. Well, Liz, I think you're gonna like this one a lot better, because there's a new limited series, His and Hers, starring Tessa Thompson and John Bernthal, getting a Netflix premiere date. We got a couple of photos here as well, of course. Speaking of the bulge, January 8th is gonna be when the show premieres on Netflix. Liz, are you gonna be watching?
I'll add it to the list. Who knows how soon I'll get to it, but I will add it to the list. I've slowly been chipping away at the list, gang. And I mean, Johnny and Tessa, come on. Love it.
Man, we gotta figure out a way to get these custom emojis in. Fiona's sending in, like the enhance on the bulge. I love how the emojis sort of like all like collapse on each other. It's like an Inception level of thinking.
Yeah.
I'm just patting myself on the back with that. But Warner Brothers Discovery, and of course Korean studio CGENM have forged a new K-content partnership. Of course, the Korean entertainment powerhouse CGENM, they are behind the movies Parasite, Crash Landing on You. Now they're partnering up with Warner Brothers to create a whole pipeline of original K-dramas for HBO Max. Would you be watching a lot of these?
Maybe. Before you explained what films they were a part of previously, I love Parasite. I didn't know what any of this meant. So, hey, good for them. And if we can, and more Parasite type films, please. Yeah, great. Grand. wonderful.
I think this is a great move to like bring in a really popular genre of content, not just a
hell
genre,
yes.
but it goes beyond the genre. And I can't wait to see what we get out of this for HBO. Like it's got to be HBO level, you know, Korean dramas, and hopefully they make a few movies too along the way. We'll see. All right. Speaking of the movies, Liz, one battle after another. There's a report in Variety talking about that movie is set to lose $100 million for Warner Brothers theatrically, while Smashing Machine and many others, we've talked about it, they all are struggling with oversized budgets. Do you think this is still like the post-pandemic and Hollywood strike effect, or do you just think Hollywood just needs to cut down their budgets at this point?
They need to cut down their budgets, and they certainly can. Again, almost every film out there right now is at least 15 to 30 minutes too fucking long, and I don't care how good the film is, quite frankly. I don't know that I have seen a movie under 2 hours at this point in weeks. That being said, I absolutely loved this film. This is the film Leonardo DiCaprio deserves an Oscar for, not him being fucking mauled by a bear. Thank you. But they did not advertise this well. Caught Stealing was advertised better than this film. They did not do this film the fucking justice it deserves. Teyana Taylor is a fucking force, and she's never going to get the recognition that she deserves. She's one talented gal, both singing, acting, modeling. She's fucking got it all, and she's never going to get her fucking flowers. But this film was not advertised well enough. It was not marketed well enough. The word of mouth did not get around. Every single person who has ever seen this film has loved this film. I have yet to hear one bad fucking thing about this film. But the problem is, there's too goddamn much content out there. So I have to choose between Leonardo DiCaprio looking insane or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in an emotionally riveting fucking role, portraying a real guy in a real situation. I mean, there's too much out there. There's too much. And then I'm cozy at home in front of my TV with K-pop demon hunters. Why am I going to drop $20 to sit in a cold theater, and they're fucking freezing all the time, for 2 hours plus? I get it. They needed to advertise this better. They really did. They really did. Gang, if you haven't seen it yet, I implore you, if you get the chance, please see it in the theater. It was great. It's wild. The story is unbelievable. Sean Penn, holy fuck. Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm telling you right now, if this man doesn't get an Oscar, I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done with all of y'all. That's all I'm gonna say.
Eric is like, I hate it when theaters aren't cold enough. That's great.
Eric, how dare you, sir? You're disgusting.
I love seeing this piece of news here. Kate McKinnon getting into
she
the
is in
world
this
of
picture
Disney.
too, girl. Go ahead,
This is a perfect
Kate.
photo. Percy Jackson season 3 has cast Kate McKinnon as Aphrodite, the Greek
Slap a
goddess of
toga on
love
that?
and beauty.
Come on.
Liz, do you think she can play a great goddess of love and beauty? Because I mean, I
No.
think that image is a great example of it.
The image wise, she absolutely can, but she can't. No, she will always be awkward as fuck in everything she does. She was recently on the podcast Smartless, and it was the very first podcast she's ever done, because that's how awkward of a person she is. She's like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, there's no way that I am going to consider her, like, you know, sultry or sexy, or like, she'll speak in her whispered tones, but all you're going to hear is like some SNL skit. You know what I'm saying? Like, she'll speak in her, like that, because she's done that voice before, but unfortunately she's done it comedically. So sadly, I can't remove the one from the other. It sure as shit is King's Portal. Thank you so much. Port Call, sorry. Kingsport. Is it Kingsport Cal? I think it is. Thank you, Kingsport Cal. Anyway, look at her though. Gorgeous. Get yours, baby. I hope they put her in soft lighting the entire time. But no, I can't take it seriously, unfortunately.
I mean, she played,
and I don't think they're going to take it seriously either, unfortunately. So
I mean, she played with like the beat up Barbie or something, and the
she
Barbie
played
movie.
Weird Barbie. Yeah,
Weird
she
Barbie.
played Weird
Yeah,
Barbie.
this is like a total 180-degree turn from that. But
yeah,
I'll take it. You know, we'll see. We'll see. She's a gorgeous woman
get
herself.
that bag, girl. I'm not mad about it. See, this is what I want. This is what I want, you guys. This should have come out before every fucking Avatar film. And they do a little mini thing about the making of and behind the scenes. No, give me a fucking 5-hour-long documentary about how you made this 3-hour-long fucking film. That shit is cool as, and I would care more. I'm excited for this. I'm more excited for this than any Avatar film I'll ever be excited about, because this shit is where it's cool as, and I'm happy they're doing it. Cool.
Well, Disney Plus making an Avatar documentary about the movie franchise with James Cameron. I think this is something that, what was it? A couple of days ago we mentioned Zoe Saldana was talking about. Yeah, they should make something like this. I guess she knew this was in the pipeline, and here we go. Now we know.
Because she agrees with me. She agrees with me.
Because I think it will also explain, again, from the actor's perspective, and like why they do this the way that they do it, and why obviously other movies don't do it as often. Part of it is the cost, but yes. Oh, and that's it. That's some DC news we'll get into a little bit later. But guys, thank you for joining us for the quick hits. Those are all the quick hits we had. And with that, let us know in the comments down below. What part of the news did you enjoy the most today? Did you like the quickest? Did you love the hot take debate? I know you guys had fun with that. And of course, we had that whole review of New York Comic Con. Liz, thank you so much for that. And with that, we're going to have Liz sign off. But before we do, let's hit that intro for DCU Daily. Liz, do you have anything else to say before we get to the DCU Daily part of the show?
I love y'all. And what were we talking about in DCU Daily this time? There was one that I was excited about, but I'm not going to be a part of it. Where is it? Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow, there's
James Gunn.
Gunn,
Andy
James
Muschietti.
Gunn.
Shut the fuck up. Andy Muschietti's a fucking idiot. Fucking dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh, I still love it. It's still great. You should still watch it. Shut up, you fucking moron. Anyway, love y'all.
And on that note, everybody, it is that time. Where's the sound that I've got? Where's the sound? It's DCU Daily time.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
All right, welcome on in to another episode, of course, of DCU Daily. It's that time of the night. We're going to be talking a lot about, of course, James Gunn, as per always. We've got a little bit of Andy Muschietti, which Liz, of course, gave you guys a bit of a preview of, and we've got some news about DC winning a few more awards. We'll talk about that. So with that, guys, let's dive into it, shall we? But before I do, actually, let's see who's still in the chat here. We've got, DC Time. Movie Spud is here. We also have, of course, Enterprising watching. And yeah, somebody in the chat was confusing Kristen Wiig with Kate McKinnon. So there you go. Thank you. Yeah. The intros are always fun. Yes, that was Seth Rogen laughing in the background. I like to sneak that in every once in a while. But thank you guys for joining in for DCU Daily, of course. I'm running it solo here for this part of the show because it's pretty late in the night and Liz has got to get some Z's because she's got to get up in the morning for her day job. But with that said, guys, let's get into DCU Daily. The first thing I wanted to dive into is great news whenever you talk about winning awards, and DC just did that because DC Podcast, they're having a big year. They just collected a few different trophies at the 2025 Signal Awards. DC High Volume won 4 gold awards for Best Editing, Best Score, Most Innovative Audio Experience, and Best Scripted in the Fiction category. And then DC Studios Showcase Official Podcast got a bronze in the Best Video Podcast Co-Host team. Come on. We are right here, people. We are right. But anyway, the Penguin Official Podcast got a silver for Best Companion Podcast. Another strong year, as you see here from DC Film News reporting on this, for storytelling across DC Universe, whether you listen to the more of like the radio drama kind of high volume Batman podcast, or if you listen to the DC Studios Showcase podcast, which is going to be coming back with more episodes soon. The Penguin official podcast was an amazing companion podcast for the show, and of course, James Gunn's Peacemaker podcast was part of the Showcase official podcast. So you guys let me know which of those you have listened to, because I know most of us were listening to at least James Gunn talk about Peacemaker. They're big awards for podcasts, right? So, and ideally in the future we would love to submit for that as well. But you could tell, like, when DC Studios got into the world of podcasting, some of these have been around longer. The High Volume Batman podcast has been around for a little while longer, where the Showcase one has only been around for about a year. And of course, the Penguin official podcast was the companion podcast to the show. So it's good to see that. It's really good to see that DC's doing it well. And this, again, is another great way to engage the fans that doesn't cost you, as much as doing an entire TV show or a movie. And it's a great way to have another touch point with the people who want to spend that extra effort, learn about how the TV show or the movies work. And I'm just excited to see that DC is doing a good enough of a job to be awarded a few trophies for it, because that's always good recognition from the podcasting community that you're doing a good job. And podcasts are a big deal now. Absolutely. You know what? I'm just happy with my Emmys right now. But anyway, I got 2 of them, by the way. Humble brag. Humble brag? I don't know. It's just a straight up brag right now. But speaking of bragging, Eric is still defending DC. We know DC's in the right direction, man. DC, it wasn't like they were completely in the trash, but DC's doing good, Eric, and James Gunn a big part of it. Yeah, and radio talkies. If you listen to the Batman podcast, it's amazing. It's really just throw in some headphones and listen to it, and it's a lot of fun. But speaking of a lot of fun, it looks like Andy Muschietti still remains very proud of his 2023 Flash movie. And of course, he recently was being interviewed about it, and he's always maintained that, hey, look, I made my choices, I'll stick by them. And what he had to say here, talking to the playlist about It, Welcome to Derry, which is his newest project, he was mentioning that the negative response to the Flash, and Ezra, the whole Ezra Miller situation. What did he think about it? He said he reflected on the movie. He said, we just moved on and understood that sometimes there's a headwind. I wouldn't really call it just a headwind. There was more than just a headwind. The whole Ezra Miller situation, if you guys remember what was going on back then, and a project that you dedicated a lot of work to, which I understand that he dedicated a lot of his time and effort. Many people did. So you gotta put that behind you and focus on the work. So I understand where he's coming from saying that. And then Andy continued on to say, and we are proud of it. I think it's a good movie. And again, director calling his movie good. Water is wet. I get it. But he continued to say a lot of people did not see it, but you know how things are these days. Like, people don't see things, but they like to talk shit about it, and they like to jump on bandwagons. Whoa, calling people out, baby. Calling people out. Of course, we had a publicity crisis with Ezra that is undeniable, and I'm not questioning that. What do you guys think? Do you think Andy is on the mark here? Because I think he's definitely addressing the whole PR crisis head on, which is definitely what was a big part of what, when you look at even the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, half the reviews were pointing out the Ezra Miller controversy over the movie itself. So we saw that back then. I mean, I think in hindsight, you can look back at the movie. I personally think The Flash was a good movie. The CGI was kind of wonky, and the reasoning that Andy Muschietti gave, I just don't buy it. As somebody who knows a little bit about how these movies are made, I can tell you those CGI shots looked unfinished, and then some of them he probably saw like, oh, you know what, is good enough. And for a movie that they spent as much money on and that went through so much developmental hell, I would have liked to see better CGI. And also, I just think it played down the importance of some things, like everything to do with Zod. Like, it just completely took what Man of Steel, did with those characters and made them really campy and just completely removed the significance of those events. And at the end, the whole twist in the movie, which I'm not even gonna get into, but I think The Flash was a good movie. Was it a great movie? No. Did it have a lot of problems with things like CGI and of course, being part of a lame duck DCEU that was already announced by James Gunn that he was going to be rebooting when the movie came out. There's many reasons that the Flash flopped. Some of them not under the control of the movie. Well, not the movie, but the people behind the movie. Some of it definitely was, such as everything to do with Ezra Miller. So, with that said, I think it's good to hear that Andy Muschietti is certainly proud of his work and he's standing by it. So, let's dive into some Peacemaker talk, shall we? What is this? Let's get rid of that there. Let me see if I can bring this on screen for you guys. And I'll switch into the Peacemaker graphic, because why not? Let's do that. So, I have a question for you guys. And the headline does the work for me, but I'm going to read it out loud here. Was Peacemaker Season 2 and its divisive finale DC Studios and the DCU's first misstep? I know we have talked about this at length, so I can only tell you that for me, I agree with this. I think it is their first misstep. Hello, Acres of Movies. How are you doing today? Delightful piano. Are you watching the quick hits? Oh, you're talking about the piano in my background. Yes, there is a piano back there. It's a virtual piano that I'm really proud of. But look, we've talked about this all week. Basically, at this point, we're all coming up on a week since the finale. But there's some good questions they ask in this article. Like, what did Peacemaker Season 2 actually accomplish? Like, because I think when you walk away from it, a lot of what we got out of it was in the last episode in terms of setting up for the future. And you could look back at like the Earth X situation. Why make it the Nazi Earth? You could make it something completely different. Did it have to be Nazis? Because I mean, they never kind of like really leaned into it. I think the whole thing with Chris Smith's storyline with Hardcore, I love that part of the show, but again, the way they leave him at the end feels like a cliffhanger for the sake of a cliffhanger. Because like if they just left it before he gets kidnapped, James Gunn mentioned the whole thing of you don't want to do he doesn't want audiences to do homework between each project. But clearly, if you don't see the end of Peacemaker Season 2, you might be wondering how the hell Chris Smith ended up on Planet Salvation when you watch Man of Tomorrow. So yeah, I think character development is definitely one of those things that the show has accomplished, Eric, and I agree with you there. But it's divisive because, I mean, is it a must-watch show? This is the thing about doing shows that might feel meaningless in the big picture as part of a cinematic universe. Marvel has struggled with this, and I think DC now with Peacemaker Season 2, you can tell like you either make these shows completely isolated that are little pockets within a larger universe, or just connect them to the point where they feel integral, like but they become homework, because otherwise you ask yourself the question, like, why did I watch that? Because it's one thing when you're watching a show that kind of stands on its own, and you're like watching The Man in the High Castle, another like alternate history show that had the Nazis winning World War II and all that. You watch the show, and the show is the show. That's it. But if you watch Peacemaker in the context of the larger DCU, is it must watch? Like, is it must see? Like, do you need to watch it to know what's going on in the DCU? No. So you're in it for the characters, and I think on that front, James Gunn did really well for Chris Smith. But I think the ending of the season left a sour taste in my mouth, and it's one of those things where they tell you can shit the bed for the entire movie, but if you send the crowd home happy, you've done your job, and people will remember that as a great movie. Marvel has perfected that. Avengers Endgame, total clip show of a movie until the third act, which was clearly like the big showpiece of the film. People think it's the greatest superhero movie of all time. Not me, but some people do. Having said that, I think season 2 of Peacemaker was still pretty good. The finale felt rushed. It felt like a Disney Plus Marvel show finale, quite frankly. And I think James Gunn is not somebody who's known for doing things like that, so that's why it kind of threw me off. And then again, the whole over-promising and under-delivering. we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But here's the thing: like James Gunn's got to stop like being like, this is the best work I've ever done, and like this is a direct follow up to Superman, and like it leads right into Man of Tomorrow. Like I'm not buying it anymore, James Gunn, because I don't think this is a preamble to Man of Tomorrow. I don't think the conversation between, Lex Luthor and Rick Flag Sr. is going to figure as much into the movie as we are being led to believe. So, yeah, like it's yeah, the whole like this was my favorite date on set. Like he's said that 5 times in the past year. So just like the man who cried wolf. Like we gotta start taking some of what he says as hyperbole and less literally. And I think that's just a change in expectations we have to get used to now. So with that said, I mean, look, I think we're beating this horse to death at this point. Yeah, Lex getting a pardon, but we don't know that yet. I mean, James Gunn probably tells us in a podcast before he shows us in a show, because he's more interested in talking about like who Rick Flag Sr. is as a character in a podcast than actually showing it to us in the show, where clearly it looks like he is basically done the 180, or not the 180, but he's gone from being somebody who lives in the grays to now he's like Lex Luthor himself, because he's got his own little meta-human prison. And that's the impression that his character gives at the end of season 2. Whereas James Gunn went on the podcast and was like, no, it's, Rick Flag is still in the gray. He's just, his motivations are different. But I'm like, I don't live in your freaking head, James Gunn. I can only work with what you give us on the show or the movie. So yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, I think this was definitely a misstep, like the Watcher said, and the way James Gunn marketed it, it's you could clearly tell, like there wouldn't be a backlash, it wouldn't be divisive if it wasn't a misstep. I mean, just the fact that it was, and again, even if you look at the fact that the overall consensus was good and it's the loud minority. Here's the thing: appearances could be reality. It's like I forget what the saying is, but the internet will remember it as, oh yeah, we were in uproar about how the finale like either James Gunn mischaracterized what we were going to see, but there was a big cameo, or the fact that it was the best thing that he has ever done, and kind of thing, because it wasn't. He overpromised, underdelivered. And so yeah, I think to answer the question in this article, yes, I do think it was their first misstep. And continuity matters, Tony, but I mean, as far as how all these pieces connect, James Gunn has said it himself in a lot of his podcasts. He's kind of making some of the shit as he goes. He hasn't quite figured out all the answers, and I'd rather he not tell us that, because then it puts him in a compromising position. But anyway, I think Peacemaker Season 2's finale was more of a misstep, and it also recontextualizes everything else that happens in the show. And to me, I'm just like, Earth X, they could have done it completely differently. Did it need to be Earth X? Are we ever going to see Keith again? Is he going to be a villain that Peacemaker comes across again? The whole checkmate setup was clearly like a post-credit scene tacked on. These are some of the many, many things that James Gunn said himself that he doesn't like to do, he did here, essentially. And I don't care if it wasn't an actual post-credit scene, because he did have a couple of post-credit scenes in Peacemaker's finale, but he told us at one point, like, we weren't gonna get that cliffhanger, and then the show was just gonna end with them like walking and like doing the whole checkmate slow-mo walk and scene, but like he was like, no, we're gonna throw in this little tag that he gets tossed into his planet Salvation by Rick Flag, and then all of a sudden that's gonna tie into Man of Tomorrow. I'm now just rambling, but my point is, yes, there's some lessons to be learned, and I'm pretty sure James Gunn is already learning those lessons. So with that in mind, I'm sure you guys can tell me in the comments or in the live chat what you think. Do you think James Gunn effed up with Peacemaker Season 2? And you can, I mean, just look at his tweet about, yes, that was the ending. Yes, I'll stand by it. You can't DM me about it. Okay, one DM. So he clearly realizes there's a few things he could do differently. Speaking of which, he addressed the whole cameo that he made in the show in the finale, saying, haha, I swear I never knew I was so clearly in the show. Yeah, of course, James. We totally believe that. I'm standing next to Nelson and our PAs. Of course, this is in the finale where they're watching Foxy Shazam on the boat, and you can tell James Gunn's got a little bit of a cameo in there, and apparently he didn't even realize that he was that easy to see in 4K. I'm like, come on, James, you knew that. Come on, you walked through all the editing. You were in the edit rooms when they were working on this, so you knew that. But he said, anyway, thank you all for joining me tonight on the Threads watch party for the finale of Peacemaker and this whole season. It's been an honor. Peace out. Cool. Tight. I know, right? The show's in 4K. Who knew? Like, you could clearly see what's going on in the back of the bar. But yeah, there you go. James Gunn, just again, I think he's gonna hopefully try to pull back a little bit of his social media presence. I mean, knowing him, he probably won't, but he should, because that's only going to help him not, do the whole over-promise, under-deliver thing. Because again, he's becoming like the boy who cried wolf. Like, when he says this is the best thing I've ever done, I can't really take it at face value anymore. And I think a lot of other people won't either. Acres of Movies saying who should play Brainiac. In my opinion, Brainiac should be played by, we did actually a fan casting for that. So you know what? Why don't you could click over to our Fan Cast Friday playlist, and we did a fan casting. I believe Batista was one of the options, but there were many others that we went through. So great question, Acres of Movies. You're welcome to join in on the Fan Cast Friday shows. We did an episode on Brainiac a few weeks ago, so definitely go check that out. You are Batman and you need a new Alfred. What movie character do you hire? To play Alfred, like a movie character? I don't know. John Wick, maybe? I guess it depends on how old Batman is in that situation. Maybe John Wick, maybe the guy from Nobody that Bob Odenkirk plays. I forget his character's name. Those would be good. Those would make for great Alfreds. Anyway, oh, Monique is there. Hello, Monique. You missed a lot of the show, but welcome on in. And we're getting closer to the end, but be kind and rewind. You missed Liz on the show. She was talking all about New York Comic Con. But thank you for joining us, Monique. Now we get to the last part of the show. And this is really where we got to talk about, again, the future of the DCU's salvation, which will be addressed in Man of Tomorrow. And Nicholas Hoult was recently asked about working with James Gunn. And then, of course, has he read the Man of Tomorrow script? So this is what he had to say. He said, I loved working with James Gunn. I think he's a wonderful director and a creative person and mind. I just spoke to him a week or two ago about the sequel and his idea for that. Unfortunately, I can't do this in Nicholas Holt's sweet British accent, but he continued to say, so I'm really excited to play the character again because I feel like there's a lot to explore with him and expectations to subvert. It's going to be exciting to step back into those shoes again. And then he continued on saying, Nicholas Hoult did, I haven't read it yet, talking about the script for Man of Tomorrow, but hopefully will soon. And I can't say anything more about that. But just upon playing the character for the first time in that story, talking about Superman, through my research and prep, I feel like there's a lot more for me to explore and for us to explore. So I'm excited that we are getting the chance to go back and do that. The biggest thing from all of this that I'm going to highlight for you guys that he says is the idea that he's excited to subvert expectations. Like, where is it? Expectations to subvert, right there. You could take this as a good thing or a bad thing. I, for one, think usually when filmmakers and actors say, oh, we're going to subvert expectations, it leads to bad things because you end up in a situation where they're doing it just for the sake of doing it, or at least it comes across that way. And like, while every once in a while, the whole Trevor Slattery, I'm Trevor Slattery, like sometimes that hits, most of the time it doesn't. And I know a lot of people didn't like Iron Man 3, so I'm like, hopefully with what we just saw in Peacemaker Season 3, the big cameo and all of that stuff, hopefully if there are subverting expectations, it's done in a way that feels natural to the characters and the story that they're telling. So I'm a little skeptical, but I wonder what you guys think about it. The Watcher saying, I got a theory about Salvation. What if Gunn's remixing the comics and he's making Salvation the center? A giant living alien planet would be quite a threat to the league. People will immediately draw comparisons to Ego, the living planet, so I don't think he's going to go in that direction. Darklead Eric saying, I'm seeing parallels with the Cadmus arc from the Justice League Unlimited. You know what? That's actually a really good point. That's actually a really, really good point. And James Gunn has mentioned Justice League, the animated series, and of course Justice League Unlimited. Love those shows. So could be possible. Yeah, exactly, Tony. I think James Gunn has done the whole giant living planet thing before. MTG saying, I'll say that the weird Peacemaker finale made me more confused, yet more excited about Man of Tomorrow's story. Nobody knows what we're in for. But there's the thing. It could either be good or bad. And I'm just being a little cynical right now because where I'm at with the DCU after Peacemaker season 2, but it could just work out in their favor. Like it could be so bonkers it's great, but it could also be like so bonkers it's bad. So we'll have to just wait and see because they're going to start filming it next year, so the script is pretty much already in place. Good points, Enterprising. Empire Strikes Back, great subversion. No, Luke, I am your father. The Last Jedi. Not so much. Anyway. These are all great theories. I don't even know if salvation is in Man of Tomorrow, says MTG. I think the lead into Man of Tomorrow is the war between the government and Meta. The Meta humans. Oh, I see. Yeah. That could be a really good point. Like for all we know, Chris might not even show up in Man of Tomorrow at all. Like Chris Smith Peacemaker might not be in it at all, and James Gunn is sort of implying that he's a big part of the future. He never said that he's gonna be in Man of Tomorrow, but I think a lot of people are sort of jumping ahead. So we'll see. Maybe he'll just respond to a Threads question and say, no, I never said that. But until then, do you want an Alpha City comic cinematic universe? I'm not actually familiar with Alpha City. That's a good question, though. Maybe somebody else in the chat has Acres of Movies. Maybe they can ask that for you. The Watcher saying, yeah, but Ego didn't have dinosaurs living on him. True. At least not that we were aware of. That's a good point. Eric saying, I don't think James Gunn cares about borrowing from Marvel. They steal from DC anyway. And the Guardians Volume 3 borrowed a lot from Grant Morrison's DC stories. Fair enough. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I know what you meant. MTG saying, I think we're just going to keep seeing people get sent there for a while. Yeah, and the next opportunity we'll have is Creature Commando Season 2. Lanterns, potentially. Supergirl, maybe. Maybe Supergirl visits Salvation. Maybe Peacemaker, maybe Chris Smith has a cameo that we're not aware of in Supergirl. Think about it that way. That would be unexpected. Well, now that I've said it, maybe not so much, but at least not for me. What else can we... Clayface. I don't know if Clayface will have anything to do with Salvation. That probably seems like a far cry from what they want to do there, but unless Clayface gets tossed into that planet Salvation too at the end of the movie. Yeah, all good theories. New gods, the Martians could be there. Dinosaurs, parademons. We know, of course, parademons in the comics are part of that. We lead to the final crises. Was it the Infinite Crisis? I forget which crisis. Anyway, Enterprising saying, I'm going to let James cook. He has vision clearly. We will just have to wait and see. Yeah, that's the thing. At least there's a vision. So, like you either sink with the Titanic or or the thing, makes it to shore, and we'll have to just wait and find out. We're only in technically year 1, if not year 1.5 of the DCU, if you count when Creature Commandos got released. So we got a long ways to go. Yeah, I did see the behind the scenes of the ball cap on David Cornsweet. I will find that footage eventually. It's funny. And I've seen the VFX breakdowns of it as well. The Corridor crew does a great job with that. Tim Burton directing the DC universe. I don't know if he wants to do that, to be honest. But he could do a Swamp Thing movie, a creature feature kind of a thing. We could also do that as a Fancast Friday. Tim Burton as a director in the DCU. What could he direct? That's another great idea, actually. Could be many things. I think John will have good options for that. I'll save that question for when John's on the show. But these are all great theories. I mean, guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think about Nicholas Hoult talking about subverting expectations, and looking forward to working on Man of Tomorrow with James Gunn. He hasn't seen the script yet, but he's excited about it, and he's already hinting at the idea that they might be going in a direction that people don't expect, which, if Peacemaker's any indication, then sure, we're in line for a lot more of that. Tiana Taylor could be a great Martian Manhunter. I mean, who's to say the Martian Manhunter has to be a dude? I'm okay with that. That's a great pick, Acres of Movies. Tony saying, I can't wait to see the Savage Land. Oops, that's Marvel Dinosaur. Yep, there you go. You already mixed your colors there. Dark Lead Eric saying, what in DC fits his aesthetic? Maybe Gerard's Way, Unmade Batman. Yeah, there's the thing. Tim Burton really is at a stage in his career where he only wants to do the things that are the most Tim Burton things to do. And I just don't think he's interested in working with franchises like DC and Marvel, because he'll have to work within a creative sandbox unless you give him something that's an Elseworlds project. But that, I mean, for all we know, he gets to direct one of the next DCU movies. But like until he ends up in a situation like that, I'm gonna say Tim Burton's probably not coming to the DCU anytime soon. But with that, guys, thank you for joining us today. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for it, of course. Man of Tomorrow is about Superman. It's about Lex Luthor. Maybe it's even, about the super family. I guess we'll find out. But what's also about family? Dom Toretto and his crew. They're all about family. And here we go.
Your brother never told you never threaten a man's family?
That's for all of you guys asking for it throughout the whole show. So, and if you guys don't have the membership and you're not in there with the family emoji, then there we are. Okay, and on that note, guys, I'm gonna wrap up the show tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with you guys. It's gonna be fun. Another fantastic DCU Daily. I'm sure we'll have on the horizon just hours from now. And then on Friday, we got Fancast Friday. So don't forget, the poll is in the YouTube community post section. Go and vote for your pick for Fancast Friday. And then, of course, if you haven't already, check out the memberships. There's some cool perks in there. So I'd love to get you guys in there, and we will have some exclusive contents coming up soon for the memberships. Until then, thank you for being in the live chat. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, then hit the like button. If you're if you're liking what you're seeing, then of course hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know when we are live. Thank you to M2G. Thank you to the Watcher. Thank you to Johnny. Thank you to Tony, Monique, Kingsport Cal, Acres of Movies. I'm sure I'm going to miss a few names. Kayla was there earlier. Dark Elite Eric, Enterprising. Liz was on the show earlier. So many of you guys, of course, are members. Yash and Go Swifty. Thank you guys. And of course, Fiona, our member, shout out. John is not here to bless you, but consider yourselves blessed from Dan, I suppose. And with that, guys, of course, not only are we blessed at the end at DC, but we are also, much like James Gunn once upon a time said, blessed from the
beginning. Another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you really I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to